Chapter 242. During the few days of seclusion, Yang Wu had already comprehended the last 4 moves of the sevenfold wild wave. His soul could also meditate and cultivate. Now that he was in such a desperate situation, his soul and body fused as one. He was forced out with all his strength and crazily bombarded the lightning. This was only ordinary lightning, but it contained the might of the heavens. It wasn't something ordinary people could withstand. Amidst wave after wave of explosions, the 6 bolts of heavenly lightning completely disappeared. However, there was still a force below the mountain that pierced into the clouds, as if it wanted to chase the heavenly lightning into the heavenly court and pierce through the sky. This horrifying scene really made people feel fear. Conquering the heavens. Who would dare to do such a shocking thing? Weren't they afraid of being punished by the heavens? The dark clouds dispersed and the lightning disappeared. Everything returned to normal. The middle of the hill caved in. There were still remnants of the power of the lightning and fire burning. There were even bursts of smoke floating in the air. Everyone swallowed their saliva crazily. Their eyes were wide open. They were clearly frightened by this scene. If they were there, they would have been killed. There was absolutely no room for imagination. A figure quickly rushed in that direction. It was the Rose of Death. She was already very worried. She really didn't want Yang Wu to lose his life because of this pill. If she had known earlier, she definitely wouldn't have let Yang Wu refine this pill. Wu! Wan Lanxin tightly clenched her fist. Her face was full of worry. Unfortunately, she didn't have the ability to fly over like the Rose of Death. Sister Lanxin, don't worry. Big brother will definitely be fine. Shouho said to Yang Wu, full of confidence. In his heart, there was nothing that Yang Wu couldn't do, even if it was conquering the heavens. Captain must have been too pretentious. I already told him to be low-key like me, but he just didn't listen. Lu Ji was a bit cheap. He couldn't help but make sarcastic remarks. At this time, a figure holding a medicinal cauldron flew out of the deep pit. Who else could it be but Yang Wu? At this moment, he was in a sorry state. His clothes had been torn apart, and his upper body was almost naked. There were even streaks of blood flowing down his body. His hair was disheveled and charred. He no longer had the casual and relaxed appearance from before. Fortunately, his aura was still relatively stable, and his life was not in danger. Are you okay? The Rose of Death felt her heart clench when she saw Yang Wu like this. Yang Wu raised the cauldron and grinned. It won't be easy for the heavens to claim my life. Even a few more heavenly thunders won't be able to kill me. Rumble. The sound of thunder echoed in the sky, scaring Yang Wu. He quickly hid behind the Rose of Death. Who knew that there was no more heavenly thunders? Yang Wu scolded. Bastard heavens, you dare to scare this young master? Do you believe that I won't stab your butt again? These shocking words made everyone re-evaluate Yang Wu. This was a person who wasn't afraid of the heavens or the earth. They all agreed that they absolutely couldn't offend this kind of person. Otherwise, their butts would be split open. It's good that you're fine. Let's see if the pill is complete. The Rose of Death looked at the lively Yang Wu and felt relieved. Right, I almost forgot about this. Just now, a few bolts of lightning struck this medicinal cauldron. I don't know if it will spoil my pill. Yang Wu came back to his senses and said. At this time, Fen Tianxiong and the other generals rushed over. They saw that Yang Wu was still so spirited after receiving such a huge blow. Their faces revealed strange expressions as they secretly praised in their hearts. This brat is truly abnormal. Yang Wu was a martial body that was continuously transformed by the heart flame and the frost spring mysterious essence. He also had the peach core of the immortal Pan to help him achieve an undying physique. These heavenly thunders truly couldn't kill him. Yang Wu opened the cauldron under the watchful eyes of the generals. A burst of medicinal fragrance wafted out first, causing everyone to feel intoxicated. Immediately after, they saw 3 round black pills inside the cauldron. They were only the size of a thumb, but they emitted an incomparably rich medicinal fragrance. This caused them to reveal an incomparably hot expression. They were itching to immediately take them and swallow them. The pill is complete. Fong Tyson's Adam's apple bobbed as he revealed an expression of disbelief. At this moment, his heart was extremely complicated. Yang Wu became the young medicine king, and his greatest sorrow was that he offended him. "Oh heavens, please strike me with a bolt of lightning." Fong Tyson felt like crying but had no tears. "Haha, I knew that this captain was born to be an alchemist. Isn't a mere pill king an easy task?" Yang Wu laughed with incomparable arrogance. At this moment, he was truly incomparably excited. He wanted Little Hay to be able to see it and share it with her. Unfortunately, Little Hay was recuperating from her injuries. Congratulations to Captain Yang for becoming the Medicine King. Fen Tianxiong was the first to cup his hands and congratulate him. Congratulations to Captain Yang for becoming the Medicine King. The other generals also bowed and congratulated him. The way they looked at Yang Wu had completely changed. Not only did they see him as an equal, they even saw him as a figure of a higher level than them. There was a hint of reverence in their eyes. Everyone was a king, and it was fine if they were all generals. In any case, their positions were slightly higher than Yang Wu's. However, Yang Wu had the additional title of Medicine King. He was simply sitting on top of their heads. Even Fen Tianxiong had no choice but to treat him with respect. Who didn't want to take a step forward? Who didn't want the Earth King Dan in this cauldron? However, they didn't have the ability to snatch it by force, so they could only beg Yang Wu. In other words, Yang Wu's words represented whether they could increase their strength in a short period of time. They had no choice but to curry favor with Yang Wu. This was how the difference in status appeared. Of course, they could also ignore Yang Wu. However, once Yang Wu's identity was announced to the world, a large number of kings would rush over to offer their knees. This point had already appeared with other medicine kings. That medicine king had several kings escorting him wherever he went. Even kings didn't have this kind of standard. Even after meeting the emperor, he was still able to speak on equal footing. It could be seen just how noble and extraordinary the medicine king's identity was. The other soldiers didn't see the Dan in the cauldron, but with so many generals already congratulating him, how could they dare to hesitate? They all exclaimed, "Congratulations to Captain Yang for becoming the Medicine King." This voice came wave after wave, spreading to every corner of the barracks. Yang Wu becoming the Medicine King was already an indisputable fact. Yang Wu's heart was filled with incomparable joy. At the same time, he also liked the feeling of being supported by others. A wave of ambition slowly grew in his heart. He calmed his emotions and took out the 3 Dan beads. He handed one of them to the Rose of Death and said softly, "Captain Rose, how about this Dan bead be a betrothal gift for you?" Everyone was stunned. No one would have thought that Yang Wu would actually give a betrothal gift to the Rose of Death in front of everyone. This courage was truly praiseworthy. The Rose of Death was truly a rose with thorns. Many people in the army didn't dare to make a move against her. Those who had made a move against her were either beaten black and blue or slaughtered. None of them had a good ending. However, the current Yang Wu was a different story. No matter which woman it was, would they reject such a young medicine king with boundless prospects? The Rose of Death herself was stunned, but she quickly regained her senses and said, "Impossible." Yang Wu immediately clutched his chest and said with a pained expression, "My heart hurts so much." Fen Tianxiong couldn't help but say, "Rose, you should think about it carefully. If you don't accept, there will be many outstanding women lining up to follow Captain Yang Wu in the future." That's right. My daughter is waiting. Yang Wu's son-in-law, how about this? Give me a Dan bead as a betrothal gift and I will betroth my daughter to you. Nan Chi-Chin immediately said from the side. "Old Nan, forget about it. Yang Wu doesn't care about your daughter." "Yang Wu, I actually have a younger sister. She is also an outstanding beauty and is just right for you. How about I introduce her to you later? Su Tinghong, who had always been meticulous, couldn't help but put down his arrogance and try to rope in Yang Wu. The others also started talking at the same time. They all wanted to introduce Yang Wu to their family's women in order to obtain a good impression from Yang Wu. Many thanks for everyone's good intentions. Actually, I was only joking. I don't have any plans to get married, haha. Yang Wu laughed and said. Indeed, he only had a good impression of the rose of death. This was a common problem for any man towards a beautiful woman. It didn't mean that he really wanted to marry the rose of death. He was only teasing her a bit. Who knew that she was such a principled woman? His impression of her improved a lot. Who knew that the rose of death would speak at this time? Who's joking with you? The 3 Dan beads are my betrothal gift. This time, everyone present looked at her with astonishment in their eyes. They really thought that she had a heart of stone and didn't care about anything. The rose of death's face heated up and a red cloud appeared on her face. It was truly too beautiful to be absorbed. She turned her face away in embarrassment. Even a medicine king could make a thorny rose bow. Yang Wu was also choked by the rose of death's sudden change. He lightly coughed and said, That? I was really joking. This Dan bead is yours. Who told you to be my captain? The rose of death unceremoniously took the Earth King Dan and extended her other hand to say, Are you giving me the other 2? Actually, you only need 1. There won't be any effect if you take more. Yang Wu responded. Are you giving or not? The rose of death asked again. Don't make a fuss. I still need to keep these 2 for the transaction. Yang Wu responded. Fine, I won't give. Who cares? The rose of death responded with dissatisfaction. She fiercely stomped her foot and angrily spread her profound wings to quickly leave this place. Yang Wu watched the rose of death fly away. He looked at the other generals and said, Aya, truly an ungrateful woman. Is everyone right? The generals were like chickens pecking at rice as they nodded in agreement. Yes, yes, you're right. Chapter 243. Yang Wu had become the medicine king. All the soldiers had witnessed this unforgettable moment, and it would become a topic that they would talk about for the rest of their lives. All the soldiers dispersed one after another, and the barracks became a bit more lively. From time to time, they would talk about Yang Wu with an expression of worship. At this time, Yang Wu was still unable to leave. He still had 2 Dan kings in his hands, and all the other generals were envious. Generals, this Earth King pill is suitable for kings who cultivate black profound qi. Don't stare at it anymore. Yang Wu replied, feeling a little scared after being stared at by the generals. The Earth King Dan was not an ordinary Dan King, it was a high-quality Dan King. Moreover, this Earth King Dan had a Dan mark, which was a mark left behind by the lightning tribulation. It proved that this medicine was extraordinary and did not have any side effects. It was hard to find in the imperial city, so even if it was not suitable, they still wanted to have it. Yang Wu, name a price. Sell this Earth King Dan to me. Tianxiong was the first to speak. I also want one. The price is negotiable. Su Tinghong said. The value of this Earth King Dan is too high. Everyone knows that. I think it would be better if we all take out something that can satisfy Yang Wu. Chao Jianda suggested. The others all nodded in agreement with Chao Jianda's suggestion. Only this way would they have a chance to compete with the Grand Marshal Fun Tianxiong. Yang Wu opened his mouth and said, Generals, please listen to me. After pausing for a moment, he sternly said, Yang Wu was able to fight the barbarian army with you generals. This is a kind of fate. I believe that everyone knows that Yang Wu once offended the princess of the Fu, an imperial family, which caused Yang Wu's reputation to be ruined, and he was sent to the border. I do not ask for any of you to settle this matter for me. In the future, as long as Yang Wu returns to the imperial court and supports Yang Wu will promise you that as long as you have enough ingredients, Yang Wu will refine the Earth King Dan for you. Yang Wu made such a big commotion just to say these words. He wanted to tie all the generals together and give him a hand to restore the Yang family's prestige. When Yang Wu said this, all the generals became silent. If it was someone else, they would not hesitate to agree. But who was Prince Fu, an emperor? He was the emperor's younger brother. His status was noble. How could they deal with him? Wouldn't that be tantamount to rebellion? Are all the generals afraid? Yang Wu frowned and asked again. Yang Wu, it's not that we don't want to help, but we have no way to help, Fen Tianxiong sternly said. Then, he added, everyone knows who Prince Fuan is. Maybe his daughter is wrong and made you feel wronged, but they are princes. As a subject, we cannot blame them. I think we should just forget about this matter. I will help you fight for the position of general of the imperial army. After some time, you will be promoted to a lieutenant general. It will not be difficult for you to become a count. If you announce your medicine king title, it will be easy for you to become a marquis. At that time, Prince Fuan will ask his daughter to give you a way out. You don't have to fall out with them. General is right. Yang Wu, you should think twice before you act. Su Tinghong said. Yes, although your performance is amazing, it is not realistic to embarrass a prince. Chao Jinda said. The others also agreed with Fen Tianxiong's statement. They will not embarrass a prince just for a medicinal pill. After all, he was not an ordinary prince, but a prince with royal blood flowing in his veins. Yang Wu fell into deep thought. His proposal just now seemed a bit impulsive. At this moment, an eagle rider quickly flew over. Fen Tianxiong looked at him and said, It seems like the imperial court has rewarded you. Let's see how the imperial court will treat you. After he finished speaking, he took the lead and returned to his tent. The other generals also followed. Yang Wu hesitated for a moment but also flew over. He also wanted to know what the imperial court will treat him as a guilty and meritorious person. When the generals returned to the marshal's tent, the eagle rider landed and respectfully handed over the imperial edict to Fen Tianxiong. Then, he quietly retreated. Fen Tianxiong personally opened the imperial edict. After he finished reading it, he slightly wrinkled his face and read, Because Yang Wu is a criminal, the imperial court has rejected the title of general of the imperial army. Instead, Yang Wu will be a deputy general. He will guard the border for 10 years. After he has made a great contribution, he can return to the imperial city. After pausing for a moment, he added another sentence. Yang Wu, accept the imperial edict. When the imperial edict fell, all the generals present were stunned. They did not think that the imperial court would treat Yang Wu like this. It was clear that they did not want Yang Wu to return to the imperial city to receive the title. They also did not want him to be promoted too quickly. It was clear that they were worried about Yang Wu. However, the position of deputy general was not low. After reaching the Earth-Sea realm and making a great contribution, one would normally be able to obtain this title. Unfortunately, this was not what Yang Wu wanted. If he was promoted to general of the imperial army, he could still return to the imperial city to receive the reward. However, as a deputy general, everything could only be simplified. It was enough for Fen Tianxiong to announce that it was enough. It was not enough to alarm the emperor. As for the additional condition, he had to guard the border for 10 years. It was simply to force him to stay at the border and not let him return to the imperial city. All the generals looked at Yang Wu. They did not know what this youth would do. Would he accept the imperial edict or not? This was truly a difficult decision. However, they felt that with Yang Wu's personality, he would most likely refuse the imperial edict. At that time, whether they would capture him or not, this made it very difficult for them. Yang Wu, accept the imperial edict. Yang Wu bowed and stepped forward to receive the imperial edict. All the generals present let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, they did not think that Yang Wu would actually know how to endure. He was truly a terrifying youth. Congratulations, Deputy General Yang. In the future, we will work together to resist the barbarian race. We will let them come and go and show the might of our great Xia. Fen Tianxiong smiled. Yang Wu nodded his head and said, "Yes. If there is nothing else, then Yang Wu will take his leave. Today's alchemy is a bit tiring. Okay, you can go back first. Remember to go to the armory to receive your reward," Fen Tianxiong said politely. When Yang Wu disappeared from the military tent, all the generals were silent. They were all experienced people and knew that Yang Wu's performance was unreconciled. "Great General, I'm afraid this matter is not so simple," Feng Tyson said deliberately. "Yang Wu is a sensible child. He has accepted the imperial edict, so he should not cause any trouble." Nan Qi still stood on Yang Wu's side. "I think so too, haha," Chao Jianda said with a laugh. If the imperial court knew that Yang Wu was already the medicine king, I wonder what they would think. Perhaps they would regret it. Su Tinghong felt indignant for Yang Wu as he said this. He then took the lead to leave. "All right, the emperor's will cannot be disobeyed. Everyone, disperse." Fen Tianxiong sighed helplessly. They did not know that not long after Yang Wu walked out of the tent, the imperial edict turned into ashes in his hands and no longer existed. "You want to suppress me at the border for 10 years? You guys are really indulging in fantasy." Yang Wu's face darkened as his heart burned with rage. Every time he thought of his parents suffering in prison, he wished he could grow wings and return to Imperial City to save them. However, he could not be impulsive right now. This was also the reason why he suppressed his anger and accepted the imperial edict. From the time he was framed to the time he was sent to prison, as well as the various experiences he had in prison, it made his thoughts no longer as pure as before. From the reactions of the generals, he could see that his methods were still a bit immature. He had to endure for a period of time and think of a foolproof plan before returning to Imperial City in one fell swoop. Yang Wu did not return to his own tent. Instead, he called the silver-patterned turtle and left the military camp. After arriving at a place where there was no one, Yang Wu could not help but roar. "I even went against the heavens. It's impossible for a mere imperial edict to trap me at the border for 10 years. Yang Wu crazily attacked the rocks here. He did not use any profound energy and only used his fists to vent the dissatisfaction in his heart. Bang bang! Pieces of rocks were smashed into smithereens by him. It was almost impossible for them to withstand the power of his fist. The silver-patterned turtle hid far away, afraid that Yang Wu's fists would land on its body. It could not help but exclaim, "When the young master goes crazy, my little turtle shell can't withstand it." Very quickly, the rocks in this area were all smashed into ruins by Yang Wu. At this moment, a figure swept down from the sky and shouted, "Do you want to fight?" The person who came was the Rose of Death. She looked at Yang Wu with a provocative expression and said. Yang Wu did not respond to her at all. Instead, he directly ran towards her and his fists boldly smashed towards the Rose of Death. The Rose of Death did not use any weapons and directly sent out a palm strike. Her palm strike contained powerful profound energy and slapped onto Yang Wu's fist that did not use any profound energy. It directly sent Yang Wu flying. "If you don't use some strength, you will be very miserable," the Rose of Death said coldly. Yang Wu crawled up from the pile of rocks and said, "Then let's see who will be more miserable." Yang Wu punched out again. The soldier fist's straight fist had powerful profound energy condensed. Waves of coldness swept out and arrived in front of the Rose of Death in an instant. The Rose of Death was already prepared. Black profound energy exploded from her delicate palm and imprinted on Yang Wu's fist energy once again. Bang! The power of the fist and palm intertwined and produced a dull sound. Profound energy surged in all directions, scaring the silver-patterned turtle into hiding far away. "Kill!" Yang Wu's murderous aura surged as he rushed over. His profound energy surged as he unleashed a series of simple soldier fists that contained extraordinary power. It was as if he treated the Rose of Death as an enemy and wanted to get rid of her. The Rose of Death did not show any mercy. Her palms repeatedly struck out, and those dazzling palm imprints were everywhere. The black profound energy carried a dense aura of decay as it oppressed Yang Wu. The Rose of Death's realm was much higher than Yang Wu's. If Yang Wu did not give it his all, he would not have any hope of winning. In this state of frenzied attacking without any hesitation, simple human figures of the soldier fist inexplicably flashed across Yang Wu's divine court. An indescribable intent slowly formed in his divine court Dao flower. His attacks became stronger and his fist energy became more domineering. There was an indescribable flavor to it. This was a type of fist intent. Chapter 244. When Yang Wu obtained the soldier fist from the battle skill steel, he felt that it was only a soldier-level battle skill and didn't take it to heart. However, he suddenly felt that the soldier fist and the battle skill steel seemed to be moving, so he couldn't help but pay attention to it. In the past half a year, he had continuously used the soldier fist. Ordinary straight punches, uppercuts, and whip punches were all variations of the soldier fist and could be done by any martial artist. He hadn't been able to obtain any unexpected gains from the soldier fist. This time, Yang Wu didn't have any worries and vented his unhappiness on the Rose of Death. He used the soldier fist to attack and didn't hold back at all with every punch. He used all of his strength. His soul and body became one, and he mastered the simple moves of the soldier fist through a comprehensive study. Suddenly, he had an inexplicable gain. It was as if he had become one with these fist techniques. Every punch had an additional consciousness, causing the power of the fist energy to rapidly increase. Rumble, rumble. The Rose of Death continuously attacked and was able to block Yang Wu's fist energy. However, as Yang Wu changed, she clearly felt that it was a little strenuous. Why did the power of the soldier fist suddenly become stronger? The Rose of Death wondered in her heart. She had no choice but to increase her strength and continue to deal with it. At the same time, she observed Yang Wu's changes. She wanted to understand why Yang Wu had such a change. Soon, she discovered the mystery behind it. She saw that Yang Wu's emotions had already calmed down. Every punch and every style seemed to be thrown out smoothly. His body was coordinated to an extreme, and a kind of will was released. Fist techniques were originally simplified, but now he simplified it again. The simple and direct fist technique was displayed to the extreme. Every punch contained an indomitable force. Meet gods, kill gods. Meet ghosts, kill ghosts. It was overbearing to the extreme. The Rose of Death was almost hit by Yang Wu's straight punch. Fortunately, she retreated quickly enough. However, the place where she was just standing was smashed into a long crack by Yang Wu's punch. Many rocks were crushed into powder by the force of this punch. This is fist intent. The Rose of Death cried out in surprise. Every combat skill was divided into the stages of nuance, proficiency, mastery, and perfection. However, there was also an extraordinary concept that surpassed these four stages. It would break through the restrictions of the combat skill and reach the peak of simplicity to unleash the most powerful attack. This kind of concept was a kind of willpower that would eventually evolve into a Tao. Just like the Tao of Death that Yang Wu currently possessed, it was a martial Tao formed through the will of death. Nuance, proficiency, mastery, perfection, intent, and martial Tao. This was a martial artist's pursuit of combat skills, the ultimate path to the strongest. Unfortunately, no one paid attention to it and no one to comprehend it. Combat martial skill. Unfortunately, no one had paid attention and no one had comprehended it had to be comprehended intent. Thus, its technique had to have some technique have some willpower. Had to leave it. Once he possessed fist intent, he would be able to unleash fist intent from any combat skill. It would be an invincible Dao. The divine court Dao flower in Yang Wu's mind continuously condensed this fist intent and quickly branded it deeply. It wasn't that easy to turn it into a martial Dao. Yang Wu still needed to comprehend fist intent before it could become a martial Dao. There were 3,000 great Daos, and every one of them was an invincible martial Dao. The more Yang Wu attacked, the more ferocious he became. He activated the celestial qi in his body and finally put the Rose of Death in a difficult position. Yang Wu, you're really taking me as a punching bag, aren't you? Then I'll let you have a taste of my true strength. Seeing that Yang Wu didn't have any protective feelings for the fairer sex, the Rose of Death became annoyed. The rose sword appeared in her hand and she thrust it forward. The rose blossomed. The black rose quietly bloomed in the cold winter and exploded with extremely powerful destructive power. It was enough to destroy a small mountain on the spot. Yang Wu entered his strongest combat state. Clouds and mist swirled around his peach core dantian. His meridians and acupoints were all exploding. Blue celestial qi gathered on his fist as he stepped into the dragon turtle water suppressing stance. The force of his fist condensed into a wave and instantly rushed out as if it was going to destroy everything. Seeing Yang Wu's move, the silver-patterned turtle exclaimed, "This is the battle technique of my turtle clan. It's so powerful!" Rumble, rumble. Another wave of attacks collided. Everything in the surroundings was swept away by the attacks, forming a small storm that didn't stop for a long time. When everything disappeared, a figure was shaken to the point of quickly retreating, almost falling to the ground. This figure was the Rose of Death. As for Yang Wu, he stood in place. All the rocks around him had been completely cleared away and there was nothing left. He stared blankly at his fist with an expression of disbelief. How did my strength become so strong? He had entered a state of emptiness just now and didn't know that he had comprehended fist intent. Are you still a man? How could you be so ruthless to me? The Rose of Death said with slight embarrassment. Her angry appearance had a different flavor. If the other generals saw it, their jaws would drop. Was this still the cold and emotionless Rose of Death they knew? Yang Wu came back to his senses and scratched the back of his head. He laughed dryly. Sorry. I couldn't control myself for a moment. I didn't hurt you, did I? The Rose of Death saw Yang Wu's appearance and couldn't be angry anymore. She only pursed her lips and said, "It's not that easy to hurt me with your little strength." Yang Wu walked over and said seriously, "Rose, thank you." "Thank me for what?" "Thank you for letting me vent. Thank you for letting me comprehend fist intent." "Just because of this?" the Rose of Death said with dissatisfaction. "Of course, it's not because of this or why," Yang Wu said very seriously. The Rose of Death was infuriated by Yang Wu. She scolded, "You bastard!" She turned to leave after saying that. Now, her mood had changed because of Yang Wu. It was really unbearable. However, Yang Wu was like a fool and didn't understand her thoughts at all. She was so angry that she couldn't speak anymore. Just as she was about to leave, Yang Wu quickly grabbed her arm and didn't let her go. "Let go!" the Rose of Death shouted. However, what awaited her was Yang Wu's warm embrace. Her slender waist fell into Yang Wu's strong and powerful arms, and she couldn't struggle anymore. She felt Yang Wu's oppressive masculine aura and her body inexplicably softened. Her face quickly heated up and her heart beat very quickly. "My dear master, I'm still a child." The silver-patterned tortoise in the distance let out a strange cry and quickly hid behind a rock. It shrunk into its shell and didn't look at this scene that was inappropriate for children. "Rose, don't be angry, okay? I didn't mean to anger you," Yang Wu said extremely gently. "If you're not angry, then what are you doing? Hurry and let go of me." The Rose of Death's tone wasn't as confident as before. Her heart was in a mess and she couldn't control it. This feeling was something she had never felt before. "You're so beautiful. Let me hug you for a while. I'm afraid I won't have this chance in the future. Yang Wu buried his face in the Rose of Death's beautiful hair and sighed softly. At this time, the Rose of Death could feel Yang Wu's physical and mental exhaustion. She then remembered that he was still a youth who wasn't even 18 years old. He must have experienced many unknown hardships in order to vent like that. Why won't you have a chance? Do you want to leave? The Rose of Death asked in return. I want to leave, but some people don't want me to leave and want to trap me at the border. Can you tell me about it? Yes, I'll tell you. During this period of time, Yang Wu had suppressed himself too much. He finally fought for the opportunity to return to the capital, but it was mercilessly suppressed by an imperial edict. How unsatisfied was he in his heart? He needed someone to talk to. If the Rose of Death was willing to listen, then he was willing to talk. Perhaps it would be more comfortable to talk about it. He simply told the Rose of Death what he had experienced. He originally thought that the Rose of Death would sympathize with him, but who knew that the Rose of Death would say with disdain, "You're troubled over such a small matter? Is this still a small matter?" Yang Wu asked in confusion. Compared to my matter, this matter can't be any smaller. The Rose of Death sneered. Could it be that you also have something that's hard to talk about? Yang Wu asked curiously. It's nothing, it's all in the past. Let's talk about you. Your matter really can't be any smaller. I don't understand what you're troubled over. The Rose of Death responded and paused for a moment before continuing. Putting aside your current military status, you're already a genuine medicine king. Do you know what it means to be a medicine king? A medicine king can casually rope in experts to rely on and form their own power. Just like the Medicine King's pavilion in Xia. Even the current emperor has to be courteous to them and doesn't dare to do anything out of line to them. He even conferred that Medicine King as a duke. This shows the nobility of a Medicine King's status. How old are you right now? You're already a genuine Medicine King, and can only be stronger than those old fellows in the Medicine King's pavilion. If you want to return to the capital, who dares to stop you? Moreover, you were originally just a small soldier in the Death Legion. You've already maxed out your contribution points and can leave the army on your own. Who can restrict you in this vast world? It was fine if the Rose of Death didn't speak, but once she did, her words were clear and logical. After Yang Wu heard this, he felt as if the moon had been lifted from the clouds and he suddenly saw the light. However, he still had some doubts and said, "But my parents are still locked up by them and I want to restore my Yang family's reputation. None of this can escape the imperial family's obstruction." You're truly smart for your entire life, but foolish for this moment. As long as you reveal your identity as a medicine king, even the imperial family will lower themselves to rope you in. Your parents will definitely be released. Of course, there's no denying that the imperial family will spare no effort to capture you and imprison you as well. Then your only way is to rebel and eliminate the imperial family. Don't say that you don't have this ability. Your master is completely capable of doing it. The Rose of Death shifted her body. She felt something poking her butt and asked, "What are you using to poke me? Hurry and move it away." After speaking, she even grabbed behind her. Chapter 245. Yang Wu kept hugging the Rose of Death as he spoke. The Rose of Death was a delicate beauty. To others, she was a thorny rose, but in Yang Wu's arms, she was a stunner. Her body emitted a faint fragrance that made his body react uncontrollably. He had been restraining himself, but he was too close to her. He was also a man full of vigor and accidentally caught a glimpse of her tattered clothes. The white and deep cleavage and delicate skin made his eyes sink in. His nose was about to bleed. His lower body instinctively reacted and wanted to move away from the Rose of Death. However, who knew that she would move first and almost cause him to fire? Just as he was about to let go of the Rose of Death, she actually reached behind her. He didn't have time to react before she caught him there. What's so hard and so big? The Rose of Death asked with an incomparably naive tone. You. Can you let go first? Yang Wu let go of the little man of the Rose of Death's waist, and said weakly, while resisting the nosebleed that was about to flow out. The Rose of Death sensed that something was wrong with Yang Wu's emotions. She realized something, but she didn't let go and instead grabbed with force. The tragic Yang Wu cried out involuntarily. The Rose of Death didn't push her luck and let go of Yang Wu. A rosy red color appeared on her face as she said, "There aren't any good men." Only the Rose of Death was so strong that she could still speak so calmly to Yang Wu in this situation. If it was any other woman, they would have been scared to the point of running far away. Yang Wu covered his crotch and said, "Rose, can't you be gentler? I'm just a normal man's reaction. Who told you to be so beautiful?" Flowery words. Your nose is bleeding. The Rose of Death revealed a mischievous expression as she said. Yang Wu hurriedly reached out to cover his nose. He touched his nose and discovered that it wasn't bleeding. Being tricked by the Rose of Death made him gloomy. He raised his head to the sky and howled, "This commander's illustrious reputation has been destroyed in a single day. Yang Wu, go out and do it. Don't let the obstacles of the secular world stop you. With your talent, you shouldn't stay in this small place. You should head towards the extraordinary world. That's the stage for people like you." The Rose of Death once again spoke seriously with her back to Yang Wu. Yang Wu's emotions stabilized after hearing the Rose of Death's advice. He nodded and said, "I know what to do." After a pause, he asked, "Rose, do you have any difficulties as well? Tell me about it." "What difficulties could I possibly have?" The Rose of Death softly replied. She muttered to herself for a moment before saying, "If I leave one day, will you remember me?" "Of course, you're my commander," Yang Wu casually replied. "Only the commander?" The Rose of Death muttered to herself. She then turned her head to look deeply at Yang Wu and said, "Goodbye." After speaking, she condensed a pair of black profound wings and flew towards the mountain range. She quickly disappeared from Yang Wu's sight. Yang Wu looked at the disappearing figure and didn't know why his heart felt empty. He suddenly felt that her goodbye might really mean that they wouldn't see each other for a long time. It was as if she was saying goodbye to him. "Rose." Suddenly, Yang Wu came to his senses. He cried out in alarm and grew ice blade wings to chase after the Rose of Death. Unfortunately, he was a bit late. The Rose of Death had already disappeared without a trace. He couldn't find her no matter how hard he tried. Did she really leave? Yang Wu murmured. He shook his head and threw this thought away. He didn't want to think about it anymore. He thought that the Rose of Death must have found a place to swallow the Earth King pill and should return once she finished breaking through. Right now, it was time for him to sort out his emotions and replan how to return to the Imperial City. No one could stop this, not even the Imperial Edict. After he returned to his tent, he shut himself in for the night and thought about the path he was going to take. The night passed quickly. He ordered people to call Wan Lanxin, Shouho, and Lu Ji over. Not long after, the three of them arrived at Yang Wu's tent. They all congratulated Yang Wu and congratulated him about Yang Wu becoming the Medicine King. They looked at Yang Wu with a trace of reverence. It was as if the distance between them and Yang Wu had been pulled far, far apart. Yang Wu didn't notice their strangeness and went straight to the point. "I called you guys over this time because I have something to discuss with you guys. I want to return to the Imperial City, but the Imperial Edict came and wants me to stay at the border for 10 years. I want to hear what you guys have to say. The Imperial Court is so heartless." Wan Lanxin frowned. "Big brother, then stay. After 10 years, you will be invincible and become the commander of this army. At that time, you won't even need to look at the Imperial family's face." Shouho's mind was simpler and said what he thought. "How could it be that simple? My parents are still locked up in the Imperial prison." Yang Wu sighed. "Lord, you have to think twice about this," Lu Ji said cautiously. Lu Ji, give me a plan. I want to return to the Imperial City as soon as possible. At the very least, I have to save my parents. At the same time, I have to let my Yang family rebuild. Yang Wu asked Lu Ji. Lord, I'm not too sure about your situation. Why don't you tell me about it and I'll analyze it for you? Lu Ji asked back. Yang Wu only said a few words. He simply talked about his experience and emphasized the people he offended. After Lu Ji finished listening, he couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. Lord, it's a miracle that you're still alive. What are you talking about? Shouho said unhappily. Yang Wu waved his hand to stop Shouho from continuing. He nodded and said, You're right. It really is a miracle. Now I want to continue the miracle and let those people know what a stupid thing they've done. Lu Ji thought for a moment and said, I think there are 3 feasible plans. There are the best plan, the middle plan, and the worst plan. Which plan does Lord want to hear? As expected of my chief strategist. You've thought of 3 plans so quickly. Let's hear them. Yang Wu praised. The best plan is to endure the humiliation and stay at the border for 10 years. After 10 years, with Lord's ability, you'll definitely alarm the Imperial City. The Yang family's problems will be easily solved. The 2 elders will be released and your brother will be able to return safely. Lu Ji said. Then he added, Now you're already a deputy general. You'll probably not make things difficult for second father and your brother in these 10 years. After Wan Lanxin heard this, she couldn't help but agree and said, This is indeed the best plan. What's the middle plan? Yang Wu didn't express his opinion and asked again. The middle plan is to use your identity as the Medicine King to leave the army and establish your own power. You'll completely cut ties with the imperial court and use this influence to welcome the 2 elders and your brother back. This will also take 3 to 5 years, but this way, you'll have nothing to do with the imperial court and become a power in the Jianghu. Your Yang family will no longer be the Yang family of the past. If Lord can advance further in the future, you might even be able to make the imperial court beg you to refine pills. Lu Ji continued. His plan coincided with what the Rose of Death had said, but his analysis was clearer. It was indeed a plan. This is a good plan. With Big Brother's ability, why should you listen to the imperial court? Shouho continued. What's the worst plan? Yang Wu asked again. Lu Ji hesitated and spat out 2 words, rebellion. At this moment the atmosphere in the tent became a little oppressive. Yang Wu narrowed his eyes and looked at Lu Ji. An inexhaustible thought was born. He laughed heartily and said, What a sickly beauty! You're really good. You're worthy of being Elder Sun's disciple. Today I'll take you to your master. What master? Lu Ji asked in confusion. Aren't you Elder Sun's disciple? Let's go to the mountain prison and I'll take you to see Elder Sun. Yang Wu said in a good mood. Teacher is really in the mountain prison. Then we must pay our respects to him. Lu Ji said excitedly. Marshal, you want to return to the mountain prison? Wan Lanxin asked. Of course, there are some things that should be settled. Yang Wu thought. Thus, he brought the 3 of them and left the army camp. He did not leave just like that. Instead, he asked Lu Ji to gather the members of the Death Legion and let them head towards the mountain prison first. Of course, the higher-ups of the military were alerted by his mobilization of troops. Before they could react, Yang Wu went to report to them. He was only bringing people back to the mountain prison to pick out some death warriors. At the same time, he went back to check on where he was and quickly returned. Fen Tianxiong had no reason to stop them. It was impossible for Yang Wu's 1,000 people to rebel, and it would be difficult for them to cause any trouble. Furthermore, there was no war happening right now, so he just let them be. However, he repeatedly instructed that Yang Wu's group had to return within 10 days. If they did not return within 10 days, they would be dealt with as rebels. Yang Wu naturally agreed, and then quickly rushed towards the position of the consecrators in the army. Wang Jiuchong, it's time for us to settle our matters. Yang Wu muttered in his heart. He had been back for many days and had not had the time to find trouble with Wang Jiuchong. Now was the time. Unfortunately, when he arrived at the pavilion where Wang Jiuchong lived, he found that the pavilion was already empty. There was not a single person there. Yang Wu casually called a soldier and asked, "Where did the consecrators go?" The soldier replied honestly, replying to Commander Yang, "They disappeared when the battle broke out. They haven't returned since. They might have escaped long ago." "What a cunning fellow," Yang Wu said helplessly. He had thought that he would take advantage of the time to settle the grudge between them, but he did not expect that the other party had already slipped away, leaving him empty-handed. At the same time, he clearly understood that Wang Jiuchong was an incomparably cunning person. If he had the chance to meet him again, he would definitely not let him go. Lai Ziying and Su Xiaoqiang, the two people who hated him to the bone, were the other party's disciples. Yang Wu did not dwell on this matter and rushed towards the direction of the mountain prison. There were still some grudges to be resolved. He wanted to tell everyone that those who offended him, Yang Wu, would be returned 10 times over. Chapter 246. Wolf Smoke Mountain Prison. This was a territory in one of the directions of the Wolf Smoke mountain range. It was located on the outskirts of the mountain range, and would not be easily attacked by Spirit Yao. Even the ubiquitous Wolf Yao were relatively few in number and level there. Ever since Wan Tianlong was transferred back to King City, Wei Dian had taken over the position of Mountain Prison's warden. Wei Dian had once been a member of the military. He had made many contributions on the battlefield and killed many barbarians. That was how he had obtained the important responsibility of being transferred to Mountain Prison and becoming a warden. This position was not all that prominent, but Wei Dian still enjoyed the feeling of being the number one boss of Mountain Prison and not being restricted by others. Ever since he had taken over, Liefeng's trusted subordinates had all pledged allegiance to this powerful warden after his death. Wan Tianlong's trusted subordinate, Zhang Xiong, was also one of the vice-wardens. However, he was severely ostracized by Wei Dian and became the most aggrieved vice-warden in history. No one obeyed Zhang Xiong's orders in prison. They all followed Wei Dian's lead. Wei Dian had even publicly insulted Zhang Xiong on many occasions. It was not that Zhang Xiong did not think of resisting, but it was a pity that his resistance was useless. He was no match for Wei Dian. If Wei Dian wanted to kill him, it would be very easy. Because of this, he could only completely relinquish his authority and no longer pay attention to the matters of Mountain Prison. He cultivated bitterly, striving to reach the realm of a top warden as soon as possible. Only then would he be able to compete with Wei Dian. Now, Mountain Prison had become a mess under Wei Dian's control. It was a far cry from Wan Tianlong's original management. He had an extremely violent temperament and would often vent his anger on the prison slave. He would whip them to death at the slightest provocation. Once, he even caused the prison slaves to resist. In the end, they were all killed. This might not be a big deal, but it had a negative effect on many prison slaves. Many prison slaves no longer dug as hard as before. It was enough to dig out a piece that could give them something to eat. In addition, Wei Dian would take in some of the female prison slaves that were sent over, as long as they were slightly passable. In his residence, there were already dozens of female prison slaves serving him every day, allowing him to live a life of drunken stupor. He was not in the mood to manage all the affairs of the mountain prison. Instead, he delegated it to another deputy prison warden that he had promoted. The deputy warden was called Anatu. He was already in his 50s and was a high-ranking human general. He was Wei Dian's trusted aide. This person was also a cruel master. He would beat and scold his subordinate. The prison guards were miserable and resentful. On this day, a group of prison slaves broke through the defenses of the prison guards and fled into the mountains. This led to a large number of escapes across the mountain prison. Usually, each section of the prison would be managed by a warden and a large number of wardens. However, this time, there were a few wardens who could not stand Wei Dian and Anata's attitude and secretly opened the locks on some of the prison slaves. They even deliberately relaxed their guard, allowing the prison slaves to successfully escape. They had even spread rumors that Wei Dian and Anatu were prepared to slaughter all the prison slaves. This news had caused the prison slaves to be terrified. Now that a prison slave had successfully escaped, these prison slaves could no longer hold back and began to escape. When Anatu heard the news, he was drunk as mud with his men. He shuddered, and the smell of alcohol on him dissipated. He drew his sword and led his men to chase after the prison slaves. "Who's rebelling? Kill them all!" Anatu shouted from atop a horse. The prison slaves had had enough. They would rather die than flee this place. They did not fear Anata's threat at all and continued to flee for their lives. "They're all rebelling. All wardens, listen up. Lead the wardens and kill them all. Where's the archery team? Come and kill all these prison slaves." Anata roared with his eyes wide open. The mountain prison was in chaos. Wei Dian was still lying among the women, unaware of the situation. Zhang Xiong received the news immediately. He had been in the mountain prison for many years, and he still had a few trusted aides by his side. His trusted aides had long since brought the news to him. He immediately put on his armor and went into battle. He mounted his mount and led his men out. "Deputy Warden Zhang, why don't we let them go?" Zhang Xiong's trusted aide advised. "There are prison slaves escaping every year, but the situation this time is the most urgent. We have to bring them all back. If they escape, none of us will have an easy time," Zhang Xiong replied. Zhang Xiong responded, and then he said, "Some people don't do anything and only know how to shout. If we don't do anything, they might push the blame to me. At that time, I will have to become their scapegoat." Zhang Xiong looked like the kind of person who was courageous and strong, but his mind was no worse than anyone else's. Zhang Xiong led a few men to the turbulent area to suppress the prison slave. At the same time, he saw the other wardens killing the prison slaves in a frenzy. He quickly shouted, "Stop! Who told you to kill the prison slaves like this? They're still chained up. They can't run far. I was the one who ordered them to kill them. Zhang Xiong, do you have a problem with that?" Anatu shouted at Zhang Xiong. "These prison slaves don't deserve to die. If you kill them all, who's going to dig up the crimson steel ores? When the crimson steel ores are reduced, will you take the blame?" Zhang Xiong retorted. "There's no shortage of prison slaves sent here every year. So what if we don't have them? These lowly slaves are already thinking of escaping. What's the use of keeping them?" Anatu replied. He paused for a moment before continuing, "Zhang Xiong, were you the one who planned the prison slaves' escape this time? What nonsense are you talking about?" Zhang Xiong raised his eyebrows and shouted. "Humph, if it weren't for you, they wouldn't have dared to escape. I think there's a need to talk to the warden about your problem." Anatu snorted coldly. "I, Zhang Xiong, am not one to be scared," Zhang Xiong replied with narrowed eyes. "Looks like this matter really has something to do with you. Men, take them down." Anatu had long disliked Zhang Xiong. Even though they had taken over his position, Zhang Xiong still held the position of deputy warden. That was a crime. Only by taking the opportunity to get rid of Zhang Xiong could he arrange for another of his brothers to be the deputy warden. "Let's see who dares." Zhang Xiong shouted with his eyes wide open. "Then let's see if I dare," Anatu said as he raised his saber and charged at Zhang Xiong. Anatu's trusted subordinates naturally surrounded Zhang Xiong's subordinate. From the prison slaves' escape to an internal conflict, the situation in the mountain prison had spiraled out of control. Zhang Xiong's combat strength was not weaker than Anatu's. In fact, it could even be said that he was stronger than Anatu. Unfortunately, Everything in the mountain prison was already under Wei Dian and Anatu's control. When the archer team arrived, Zhang Xiong's subordinates were killed on the spot. Zhang Xiong was also shot in the arm and was knocked off his mount by Anat. The leader of the archer team was controlled by another of Wei Dian's trusted subordinates, He Wuxia. He was also the one who wanted to replace Zhang Xiong's position. I hate it. With you bastards, the mountain prison will be destroyed sooner or later. Zhang Xiong landed on the ground with injuries. Knowing that he could not escape this calamity, he could not help but let out an indignant roar. Zhang Xiong, be a good boy and accept your death. Anata sneered as he slashed his saber at Zhang Xiong. Zhang Xiong closed his eyes and waited for death. However, at that moment, a mocking voice suddenly rang out. What a funny joke! This sudden voice caused Anata's movements to pause for a moment. Zhang Xiong was lucky enough to escape with his life. Who dares to gossip here? Anata frowned and reprimanded. He looked around, searching for the person who had spoken. The others also looked at each other. They hurriedly found the person who had spoken so that they would not be implicated. Soon, they saw a young man dressed in navy blue appear on a rock not far away. He was crossing his legs and looking at them with a mocking smile. This young man was handsome and valiant. It was as if there was an immortal halo around his body. Just looking at him made one feel intimidated. Who are you? How dare you barge into the mountain prison? Don't you know that this is a place where prison slaves are imprisoned? Anata looked at the young man who had suddenly appeared and reprimanded him in confusion. Of course I know. I've been here for a while too, the young man replied with a smile. Oh, could it be that your family used to serve in the prison as well? Anata probed. He had no idea where this young man came from. He felt that this young man had a noble air about him and was not an ordinary person, so he did not dare to act rashly. Haha, no, I was a prison slave in the prison. The young man laughed loudly. This kid is playing with us, He Wuxia said in a low voice. Anata ordered with a dark expression, shoot him until he looks like a hornet's nest. It had to be said that Anata's change in attitude was very fast. He was instantly filled with murderous intent. Yang Wu, leave quickly. Don't worry about me. Zhang Xiong recognized this young man as Yang Wu, who had left the mountain prison more than half a year ago. He did not know how Yang Wu had returned, but he could not bear to see Yang Wu die, so he quickly reminded him. Very well, he really is Zhang Xiong's accomplice. Kill him. Anata was even more furious now. The archers knocked their arrows and mercilessly shot at Yang Wu. Arrows were extremely lethal weapons, suitable for sieging cities and seizing strongholds. In a war, the most feared army was this kind of army. In the barbarian suppression army, there were also 10,000 of these archers, and they were one of the strongest troops to intimidate the barbarian race. Swoosh! One after another, terrifying arrows shot towards Yang Wu. Even mortal generals did not dare to rashly face these attacks head-on. The charging speed was too fast, and the destructive power was too great. The only way to defeat the enemy was to evade and kill the archers. Anata felt that the young man was courting death. Anyone who dared to be so arrogant in the mountain prison would not have a good ending. However, just as the arrows were about to land on the young man's body, the young man casually waved his hand, and the arrows were easily caught by the young man. This time, everyone present was dumbfounded. Did none of you eat? This shooting power is too weak. Yang Wu said with a faint smile. Rice bucket, shoot again. Anata frowned and reprimanded. Chapter 247. Swoosh. Swoosh. Wave after wave of arrows shot out. Each arrow contained an extremely sharp aura. In the blink of an eye, they were right in front of Yang Wu. The power of these arrows could kill any golden-level cultivator on the spot without any suspense. Under the barrage of so many arrows, even a general would be turned into a hornet's nest. Anatu, He Wuxia, and Zhang Xiong all stared with wide eyes. They wanted to see if this young man was really so powerful that he could ignore these arrows. In the next moment, they were once again stunned. For some reason, Yang Wu casually spun the dozens of arrows and put them all into his arms. Not a single one of them could touch his body. So weak. I'll return them to you. Yang Wu did not want to play with them any longer. After saying this in disdain, he threw all the arrows back at them. Ah! The archers were unable to react in time and were shot in the arms by the numerous arrows Yang Wu threw back. All of them let out miserable screams as their bows fell to the ground. This time, even a fool could see that Yang Wu's combat strength was extraordinary. Who are you? Why did you come to the mountain prison to cause trouble? Do you know that this is a capital offense? Anatu shouted again. Who do you think you are? How dare you sentence me to death? Even the current emperor has no right to take my life. Yang Wu replied forcefully. Why waste your breath on him? Kill him! He Wuja waved his hand and ordered the prison guards. Immediately afterward, more than a dozen prison guards charged at Yang Wu with weapons in their hand. Among them were 2 wardens, both of whom were in the general realm. However, before they could reach Yang Wu had already disappeared. They looked around in panic and finally found that Yang Wu had appeared in front of Zhang Xiong at some point. He helped Zhang Xiong up and said, Deputy Warden Zhang, are you alright? Here's a healing pill. Take it first. You're really Yang Wu? Zhang Xiong looked at Yang Wu, who was so close to him, and asked in disbelief. Yang Wu smiled and asked jokingly, Why don't I look like me? Or have I become more handsome? Zhang Xiong nodded like a machine and said, You really don't look like me. You've become much more handsome. Haha, I like what you said. I'm Yang Wu. No one would be so bored as to pretend to be me. Yang Wu laughed. Behind you. Zhang Xiong suddenly saw Anatu slashing his saber at Yang Wu from behind, and he hastily shouted. Yang Wu acted as if he didn't hear anything and simply ignored the blade behind him. Anatu's slash hit Yang Wu, but when his saber came into contact with Yang Wu, it was as if he had cut steel, producing a crisp sound. Moreover, there was a very strong rebounding force that shook him back several steps. The web between his thumb and forefinger was faintly numb. How is this possible? Anatu was completely stunned. He was an advanced General Realm warrior. He could even sneak attack and kill a top General Realm warrior. How could he not even kill this young man in front of him? Deputy Warden Wu, there's something strange about this kid. Let's kill him together. Liuja shouted. He personally led the people around him to attack Yang Wu. Liuja used a mace. He gathered all his strength on the mace, and a majestic celestial chi charged at Yang Wu like a wolf demon. The others also blasted out their celestial chi. The celestial chi ranged from 3 to 3 feet. It was colorful, and they were determined to kill Yang Wu on the spot. Kill! Anatu was not a coward. He was also a veteran who had crawled back from the battlefield. After he came back to his senses, he raised his saber high. Powerful strength gathered crazily, and a saber light that was 10 feet long slashed at Yang Wu's head. Even a top General Realm warrior would have to avoid such a powerful encirclement. Zhang Xiong, on the other hand, felt a suffocating sense of death, but it only lasted for a moment. He felt that Yang Wu's body was exuding a power that was as mighty as a mountain blocking in front of him. No matter how powerful the attack was, it would be difficult to hurt him in the slightest. Boom! Boom! These forces bombarded Yang Wu's position repeatedly, causing quite a commotion. A lot of dust was sent flying, and a cloud of black smoke covered the place. Anatu and Liuja did not just launch one attack. Instead, they launched continuous attacks, wave after wave. They wanted to kill Yang Wu and Zhang Xiong together and blast the place into a deep pit. After quite a while, they finally stopped. They did not feel Yang Wu's counterattack. They all thought that Yang Wu must have died under their combined attack. Anyone who dares to behave atrociously in the mountain prison will die. Anata said proudly after venting his anger. That's right. From now on, it's our world. Ha! Heliosha laughed in agreement. Unfortunately, before he could finish laughing, his throat seemed to be stuck by a fish bone. His expression froze on the spot, and his eyes almost popped out of their sockets as if he had seen a ghost. Have you had enough? Then take a punch from me. Yang Wu said calmly as if nothing had happened, then slowly threw out a punch. A straight punch. Boom. Heliosha was the first to suffer. He was sent flying by Yang Wu's punch. His body flew through the air like a shrimp, and he spat out a column of blood. In the end, he crashed heavily dozens of feet away. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Anata's legs were a little weak. He turned around and ran without thinking. If he did not run, he would end up like Heliosha. You won't be able to escape even if you have 8 legs, Yang Wu said as he looked at Anatu, who was running as slow as a tortoise. With that, he threw out another uppercut. Anatu, who was already dozens of feet away, looked as if he had been punched from below. His buttocks immediately split open, and his body was sent flying before falling heavily to the ground. His buttocks even landed on a sharp rock, and the pain was so great that he fainted on the spot. With 2 high-level generals killed by Yang Wu with a single punch, the others were petrified on the spot. They did not even dare to run. The weapons in their hands automatically dropped, and they did not even have the courage to hold them. Please let us go, sir. This has nothing to do with us. They ordered us to do it. That's right. Please let us go. We were only following orders. It has nothing to do with us. Deputy Warden Zhang, please give us a chance. We're willing to listen to your orders. Yes. Deputy Warden Zhang, please save us. The warden and prison guards present were scared out of their wits. Such abnormal combat strength was not something they could imagine. If they were to be punched, they would definitely be dead. Yang Wu, please spare them this time. Zhang Xiong still tried to persuade Yang Wu. Sparing them is a small matter. Your matter is more important. You don't seem to be in a good situation. If Sister Lanxin comes back and sees this, she'll probably be sad. Yang Wu said indifferently. At his level, he would not bother with these small fries. The first miss is back? Zhang Xiong asked excitedly. Yes, she'll be at the foot of the mountain soon, Yang Wu replied softly. Haha, it's good that she's back. As long as she's fine, everything will be fine. Zhang Xiong had long regarded Wan Lanxin as his own niece. After hearing the news about her, he smiled with great relief. Tell me what's going on first. While there's still some time, I'll settle it for you. Besides, I have to go and greet your warden. Yang Wu said with a trace of hostility. I know you'll come back for revenge. But Wei Dian is an official of the imperial court. If you really want to make trouble for him, I'm afraid you'll be wanted by the imperial court again. Zhang Xiong reminded Yang Wu. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. A scholar who has been away for 3 days will be looked at with new eyes. I'm no longer the ignorant person I used to be. Yang Wu said as he took out his general token and waved it in front of Zhang Xiong. Zhang Xiong identified it and immediately knelt down on one knee. Greetings, General Deputy Warden. Zhang Xiong was not an ordinary prison guard. He had followed Yang Wu for many years and had seen some generals. Naturally, he recognized the significance of the token in Yang Wu's hand. It was a reward that only a king who had made great contributions at the border and reached the Earth-Sea realm could have. Yang Wu had such a token and the combat power he had just shown. Even if Zhang Xiong was stupid, he could imagine how honorable Yang Wu's identity was. Even Wan Tianlong only held the position of great cavalry captain back then. Yang Wu had already surpassed this position, which was simply shocking to him. Even after racking his brains, he still couldn't figure out how Yang Wu had done it. The only explanation was that Yang Wu had gotten lucky and received the help of a benefactor, allowing him to soar into the sky. If he really had this kind of luck, He also wanted to take advantage of it. Yang Wu helped Zhang Xiong up and said, "Warden Zhang, you don't have to be like this. Thank you for your help. Otherwise, Yang Wu would have died in prison. I still have to thank you. Let's go. We'll promote you to the position of warden. In the future, you'll be in charge of the prison." Is this really okay? Zhang Xiong was at a loss. He had been suppressed by Wei Dian for so long. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want revenge. However, Yang Wu suddenly wanted to promote him to the position of deputy warden. This came a little too suddenly. His little heart couldn't take it. Who didn't want to remove the word deputy? There was only a difference of one word, but the power was very different. Isn't it good? Yang Wu asked. It's good. Zhang Xiong, a fierce man, said with a hint of desire. Is it good or bad? Of course it's good. Then it's all right. Take me to that guy. The palm that hit me was very painful. Wei Dian was still drunk in his warden's courtyard. Several good-looking women were circling around him. Some were feeding him wine, some were massaging him, some were dancing for him. Who didn't want to live such a happy life? A prison guard staggered in and shouted, "Warden, it's not good. Warden, it's not good." His shout scared the woman who was feeding Wei Dian wine. She poured the wine on Wei Dian's nose and choked him. This time it was really bad. I'm sorry, Warden. I'm sorry. Chapter 248. Slap. Wei Dian stood up and slapped the woman hard across the face, sending her flying like a dead fish. She landed in front of the prison guard who had just rushed in. The guard was so scared that he knelt down on the spot, his crotch wet. He realized that he had said something wrong. At the same time, he knew the warden's temper. He was a master who would kill at the slightest provocation. His heart trembled. It's over. It's over this time. Wei Dian's upper body was bare, and his strong body was covered with incomparably hideous scars. These were the battle scars he was proud of, and he liked to show them to others the most. At the same time, it was also the best way to intimidate others. Every woman he called over was scared to tears by these scars, but he forced them to lick his scars. It had to be said that his mind was very perverted. What did you say just now? This warden didn't hear you clearly. Wei Dian glared at the guard and asked faintly. Warden, someone escaped. The guard said with a trembling voice. Someone escaped? Then let him escape. What are you making a fuss about? Wei Dian said indifferently. No, someone came to break out of the prison. The guard said again. Is someone escaping or breaking out of the prison? Wei Dian said impatiently. It's escaping. No. It's breaking out of the prison. No. The guard became incoherent and couldn't say what he wanted to say clearly. Pooh. Wei Dian really didn't have the patience to listen to the guard. He raised his hand and slashed horizontally. A blade of Xian Qi swept across the guard's neck, and a big head was sent flying. The women present screamed in fright. Some of them even fainted on the spot. They couldn't bear to see such a bloody scene every time. After all, they were just ordinary women. What are you screaming for? I didn't see you screaming so loudly when I was doing you. Do you want to die? Wei Dian turned around and scolded. In an instant, all the women hurriedly shut up, not daring to make a sound. At this time, Wei Dian heard some noises outside the courtyard. He frowned and waved his hand, taking a battle spear from the shelf. Then he walked out of the room and headed towards the courtyard. What happened? Wei Dian asked the guard outside loudly. Bang bang. Suddenly, two heads fell from the sky and landed right in front of him. Wei Dian looked down and saw that it was Anatu and He Wu's heads. He said in shock and anger, Who? Who did this? How dare they kill my two brothers? Anatu and He Liuzhou were Wei Dian's sworn brothers. Back then, when Wei Dian was not as powerful as he was now, he had received their care. Later on, Wei Dian was able to grow up in the military. When he became the warden of the Mountain Warden, he brought his two brothers here to enjoy life. Who would have thought that they would die in front of him in just half a year? How could he not be angry? Warden Wei, I was the one who cut off their heads. Zhang Xiong appeared in front of the courtyard and said faintly. Behind Zhang Xiong was a 100-man crossbow team. They had already chosen to follow Zhang Xiong, so there was no other choice. Are you rebelling? Wei Dian shouted angrily when he saw Zhang Xiong appear. Warden Wei, you are cruel and heartless. You killed prison guards and prison slaves for no reason and condoned your subordinates to break the rules of the prison. Surrender, or else you will end up like these two. Zhang Xiong shouted at Wei Dian. Wei Dian held the spear and released a powerful aura as he shouted, How dare you? Who is the warden here? You openly instigated others to deal with me. Quickly repent and be saved. Kill Zhang Xiong for me. I can give you a chance to turn over a new leaf. If you miss it, there won't be a second chance. He was a top-notch general, and was not far from the Earth-Sea realm. Even if he indulged in pleasure every night, he still had some combat strength left and did not completely waste it. Wei Dian, Warden Zhang is right. You'd better surrender, a captain of the crossbow team said. Good, very good. It seems that you are all stubborn. Then all of you will die. Wei Dian shouted a few times and rushed out with his spear. He was covered in 4 layers of Xian armor, which protected him tightly. The aura on his body was like that of a fierce tiger, which was quite powerful and extraordinary. Shoot! Zhang Xiong ordered. In an instant, 100 crossbow arrows shot toward Wei Dian in a frenzy. Wei Dian was worthy of being an experienced general on the battlefield. He waved his spear, and a series of spear shadows flashed, blocking all the crossbow arrows. None of them could land on him. Trash like you want to capture me? You must be dreaming. Wei Dian was able to become the warden, so he naturally had a strong side. His figure moved like a tiger, constantly changing his position, and his target was Zhang Xiong. Roar! When he was only a few feet away from Zhang Xiong, he stabbed out with his spear. A fierce tiger roared out, and its deep fangs bit toward Zhang Xiong. I want to see how powerful you are! Zhang Xiong raised his fighting spirit, and his whole body was suffused with a strong fighting spirit. He also met Wei Dian's attack with all his strength. Bang! Bang! The two attacks collided fiercely, and Xian Qi kept spilling in all directions. It seemed quite intense. The gap between Zhang Xiong and Wei Dian was still very obvious. He was knocked away by Wei Dian's strength, and the weapon in his hand almost slipped out of his hand. At this time, the crossbow team shot again. Each arrow contained a powerful force, and it drew a fast light, which was impossible to guard against. When these arrows were gathered together, even a general realm expert would not be able to withstand it. This time, Wei Dian ignored these arrows and continued to attack Zhang Xiong with his spear. He knew very well that as long as he killed Zhang Xiong, everything here would calm down. Ding! Ding! Those arrows shot at Wei Dian's body, but unfortunately, they were all blocked by his 4 layers of Xian armor. The most domineering arrow only shot into the 3rd layer of Xian armor, and still could not hurt Wei Dian's flesh. What a powerful defense! The crossbow team leader cried out. It's too late to know now. Zhang Xiong, die. Wei Dian laughed sinisterly. He had already closed in on Zhang Xiong, and his spear stabbed toward Zhang Xiong's face. Not only did he want to assassinate Zhang Xiong, but he also wanted to blast Zhang Xiong's head to avenge his 2 brothers. Just as this sharp and domineering spear was about to land on Zhang Xiong's face, a figure quietly blocked in front of Zhang Xiong and easily pinched the power of the spear in his hand. Wei Dian's power was obstructed, causing his expression to change greatly. He focused his gaze and saw a slightly familiar-looking young man appear in front of him, causing him to feel even more shock. He frowned and asked, "Who are you, and why are you stopping me from killing the traitor?" Yang Wu calmly looked at Wei Dian, who had once wanted to kill him, and said indifferently, "It seems that Warden Wei has forgotten who I am." I really don't know who you are. Hurry up and get out of the way. This is our mountain prison's internal affairs. If you dare to interfere, you will be going against the imperial court. Can you bear this crime? It had to be said that Wei Dian was not a brute. He still had some brains, and when he realized that this noble young man was not ordinary, he used the imperial court to suppress him. Haha, look a little more carefully. Half a year ago, you almost killed me here with your own hands. Yang Wu sneered. Wei Dian's eyes narrowed as he recalled what had happened half a year ago. He instantly trembled and exclaimed, You are Yang Wu? Congratulations, you are correct. Unfortunately, there is no reward. No, it should be a reward for you to go to hell. Yang Wu replied with a smile. At this moment, Wei Dian suddenly attacked again. His spear was imbued with his explosive power, intending to kill Yang Wu while Yang Wu was distracted. Wei Dian was truly a veteran of the battlefield. As long as he could grasp the slightest chance, he would not give his enemy any chance of survival. Unfortunately, the gap between him and Yang Wu was too great. Every single one of his actions couldn't escape Yang Wu's eyes and ears, and before his attacks were about to descend onto Yang Wu had grasped all of them in his hand. Yang Wu squeezed forcefully, causing the profound energy of the attacks to explode inch by inch, and there was even an extremely strong rebounding force that struck Wei Dian's battle spear. It shook Wei Dian to the point he couldn't even hold onto his battle spear tightly, causing the web between his thumb and forefinger to bleed while his arm hurt. You're a king. Wei Dian cried out as if he had seen a ghost. You got it right again, but there is only one reward. Yang Wu treated Wei Dian like a clown. The enemy that he looked up to in the past was now no different from an ordinary person in his eyes. This was the absolute power that one would have after reaching a certain level of strength. This was the world of the strong. Wei Dian did not even think about it. He knelt down heavily on the spot, smashing his head on the ground as he said, Wei Dian is willing to surrender and accept punishment. Please let me go, young Master Yang. This guy was really decisive, without the slightest hesitation. He was very clear that if he was even a little bit slower, his head would have been separated from his body. Yang Wu and Zhang Xiong did not expect Wei Dian to be so flexible. It seemed that those who could get the position of prison warden were not ordinary people. General Yang, don't let him go. This kind of villain will only be a scourge. Zhang Xiong said from the side. Zhang Xiong, you're wrong. I'm just following orders. I can't help it. If young Master Yang doesn't mind, Wei Dian is willing to be a dog that bites people. Whoever young Master Yang tells me to bite, I'll bite. I won't say a word. Wei Dian was very clear about his situation. If he did not surrender, there was no way for him to live. You almost killed me once. Yang Wu looked up at the sky and sighed softly. The moment Yang Wu was distracted, Wei Dian suddenly jumped up. He raised an object in his hand and shouted, Go to hell! General Yang, be careful! No one had expected this sudden change. Zhang Xiong, who was not far away, wanted to help but was too late. He could only watch as Yang Wu was hit by a powerful explosion. Boom! Chapter 249. Fire Lightning Bead. No one would have thought that Wei Dian would have such a vicious move. The Fire Lightning Bead was a specially made explosive weapon with extremely powerful destructive power. This item could only be made by the forces of the Transcendent Realm. It was extremely rare in the mortal realm. Wei Dian's Fire Lightning Bead wasn't the real thing, but a replica. Its power was far inferior to the real thing, but it shouldn't be a problem to kill a primary king in a head-on confrontation. Wei Dian had obtained it by chance after killing a barbarian general. He had kept it with him and didn't use it. He would only use it at a critical moment like this. This time, he was forced into a desperate situation by Yang Wu and had no choice but to use it. When Wei Dian blasted out the Fire Lightning Bead, he immediately retreated. The profound armor on his body floated, but he was still sent flying by the explosion. The profound armor on his body cracked, but fortunately, he didn't suffer too much damage. Zhang Xiong was also shocked. He was some distance away from Yang Wu, but he was still affected. The power of the explosion cracked his eardrums, and his body was sent flying by the shockwave. General Yang! Zhang Xiong got up and cried out. Haha, don't shout anymore. The fire thunderball can kill a king-level warrior. That brat! Wei Dian laughed proudly. Before he could finish his sentence, his throat seemed to be stuck by a fish bone. His expression froze, and he couldn't say anything else. Laugh, continue to laugh proudly, Yang Wu said as he stood in front of Wei Dian as if nothing had happened. Wei Dian knelt down heavily again and kept kowtowing to Yang Wu. Wei Dian deserves to die. Wei Dian deserves to die. Young Master Yang, please let me go. Please let me go, bang bang. Wei Dian's strength was very fierce. He kept hitting the ground, creating a small hole in the ground. His forehead was bleeding. It could be seen that he was really scared this time. Yang Wu didn't even think about it. He lifted his foot and stomped down on Wei Dian's head. Wei Dian's face was directly buried into the ground, and he could no longer lift it up. His body was constantly struggling. Even though he was a top-notch human general, he was unable to break free. What other tricks do you have? Go ahead and use them, Yang Wu said expressionlessly. Zhang Xiong looked at Yang Wu and was instantly shocked. He exclaimed in his heart, he is indeed the king of youth. Wei Dian is courting death. At first, he didn't dare to imagine that Yang Wu could become a king in such a short time. Now, he had no choice but to believe it. After all, he had personally felt the power of that fire-thunder seed. If he had been in Yi Shiwen's place, he would have been turned into a pile of bloody mud. However, Yang Wu looked as if nothing had happened. He couldn't think of any other reason other than the fact that a king had such an ability. Yang Wu stomped on Wei Dian forcefully, causing Wei Dian to continuously eat dirt. The surrounding prison guards watched with great satisfaction. During this period of time, they had been very sullen under Wei Dian's command. Now that Wei Dian had finally suffered the consequences of his own actions, they could finally heave a long sigh of relief. Yang Wu didn't immediately stomp Wei Dian to death. After he moved his foot, he kicked Wei Dian's shoulder and sent him flying like a dog. I'll give you another chance to save yourself, Yang Wu said calmly as he looked at Wei Dian. How could Wei Dian have any way to save himself? He could already feel that Yang Wu wouldn't let him go. He roared, I'll fight it out with you. He exploded with all his strength and violently attacked Yang Wu. The power was truly impressive. Unfortunately, in Yang Wu's eyes, it couldn't even withstand a single blow. Yang Wu lightly shook his head and kicked out again. Like a long whip, his leg flashed past and exploded Wei Dian's head on the spot. Zhang Xiong looked at Wei Dian, who had been kicked to death, and took a deep breath. His body felt a little cold as he rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, I didn't make things difficult for young Master Yang. Just as Wei Dian was kicked to death, Wan Lanxin, Shou Ho, and Lu Ji finally arrived. 1,500 members of the Death Legion surrounded the entrance to the mountain prison. Wan Lanxin was wearing a general's uniform. She stood facing the wind, looking as valiant and beautiful as ever. Shou Ho was wearing a set of Major General's armor. His body was small and thin, and he didn't have a powerful aura. However, his flashing eyes were incomparably sharp, and the prison guards didn't dare look at him. As for Lu Ji, although he was wearing armor, he didn't have a manly aura. Instead, he looked like a woman dressed up as a man. He wasn't any less charming than Wan Lanxin. When he and Wan Lanxin stood together, anyone who saw them would call them beautiful sisters. There are prison slaves trying to escape. Stop them all, Wan Lanxin ordered from atop her horse. She was one of the wardens of the mountain prison. How could she not notice the strange movements of the mountain prison? The soldiers of the Death Legion didn't move. So what if Wan Lanxin was a Chiliarch? She wasn't a member of the Death Legion. They wouldn't listen to her. Are all of you deaf? This is the elder sister of the commander. How dare you disobey her orders? Lu Ji shouted at the soldiers of the Death Legion. At this moment, the soldiers of the Death Legion quickly surrounded the prison guards who had escaped. The soldiers of the Death Legion were all ruthless people who had been on the battlefield. Their aura was much stronger than that of the prison guards. When they appeared, they immediately frightened the prison slaves, causing them to tremble. They no longer had the courage to escape. As for the prison guards, they also noticed that this was an army. They didn't dare to put on airs. An old prison guard recognized Wan Lanxin. He shouted, "Excuse me, are you Wan Lanxin, the warden of the Death Legion?" "I am Wan Lanxin, but I am no longer the warden. I am Wan Lanxin, a chiliarch of the Barbarian Suppression Army," Wan Lanxin said majestically. Most of the prison guards were just ordinary soldiers. A chiliarch wasn't any weaker than their wardens. They were so scared that they knelt down to pay their respects. "Everyone, get up. Let's lock up the prison slaves again," Wan Lanxin said. Then, she called the old prison guard over to ask about the situation. After she learned about it, she asked the soldiers of the Death Legion to help the prison guards chase the prison slaves back. She still had a special feeling for the mountain prison. She had been here for 3 years. Her father was once the warden here. It was their duty to guard the prison slaves here. Wei Dian is really a good-for-nothing. Wan Lanxin couldn't help but scold Wei Dian when she saw that he couldn't even manage a prison. The prison guards didn't dare to say anything. This young lady's status was no worse than the current warden's. They couldn't gossip about her. Wan Lanxin led Shou Ho, Lu Ji, and the remaining 500 soldiers of the Death Legion to the warden's place. This movement attracted the attention of many prison guards. When they saw Wan Lanxin leading the group, they couldn't help but whisper to each other. "Warden Wan is back. Is she back to take over the warden's position? It would be great if that's the case. It's really the young lady. She has become even more beautiful. She brought so many people back. She must be back to take over the warden's position. Don't be so naive. Look at Warden Wan's attitude. She may have already taken root in the barbarian army. Why would she care about this broken place? Warden Wei should be in some trouble." He replaced Warden Wan's position. As his daughter, Warden Wan will definitely vent her anger. When Wan Lanxin arrived at the warden's courtyard, she saw Zhang Xiong leading a group of people to greet her. "Young lady, you're finally back," Zhang Xiong shouted happily from afar. "Greetings, young lady." The prison guards behind Zhang Xiong all knelt down and shouted in unison. Wan Lanxin dismounted and responded, "Uncle Zhang, why are you all here?" "Young lady, let's talk inside. General Yang is waiting for you." Zhang Xiong smiled. "General Yang? Wu has already arrived." Wan Lanxin was surprised. Zhang Xiong nodded and led Wan Lanxin into the house. Skinny Monkey and Lu Ji naturally had to follow, while the others waited outside for the time being. Yang Wu looked at Wan Lanxin and the others in the courtyard and said with a smile, "Sister, you're too slow." "It's not that we're slow, but you're too fast. You didn't even inform us." Wan Lanxin saw Yang Wu and rolled her eyes at Yang Wu. Her flirtatious charm was truly captivating. "Haha, I don't want some people to dirty your eyes, so I came to clean up in advance." Yang Wu laughed. "You killed that villain Wei Dian?" Wan Lanxin looked around the courtyard and asked. "Yes, leaving him alive is just a scourge. Warden Zhang will tell you about this." Yang Wu replied softly. "This matter is not urgent. You came all the way here. I'll get someone to prepare wine and dishes. We'll talk while eating." Zhang Xiong was injured, but his mood was quite good. He immediately ordered the servants to prepare wine. Then, Zhang Xiong and Wan Lanxin talked about old times. Zhang Xiong couldn't help but talk about what Wei Dian did in the mountain prison, as well as everything he encountered. After Wan Lanxin finished listening, she still wasn't satisfied with Wei Dian's death. she said. Letting him die like this is too easy for him. He should be crippled and thrown into the prison slaves. Let them torture him to death every day. Sister, you're really ruthless. Yang Wu gave Wan Lanxin a thumbs up and said, to deal with evil people, you have to use evil people's methods. Wan Lanxin replied. Then she said, Wei Dian is the court-appointed warden. If he dies, I'm afraid there will be people who will investigate this matter. I'm afraid there will be some trouble in the future. Zhang Xiong nodded and said, Yes, I'm worried about this matter. What's there to worry about? The warden is appointed by the court, but the barbarian suppression army has the right to interfere. If the warden accidentally dies in an accident, the army can directly appoint a new warden and then report to the court. Yang Wu said. As soon as he said this, everyone's eyes lit up, but they quickly dimmed again. At the very least, the army marshal has to say something. It's still not easy. Zhang Xiong looked at Yang Wu and said with anticipation. He wanted to be the warden for a long time. In front of him was this opportunity. He could only hope that Yang Wu could give him another surprise. Let Marshal handle this matter. There won't be any more problems. Wan Lanxin looked at Yang Wu and said with confidence. Chapter 250. Yang Wu was only a deputy general and was the most ordinary general in the army. Among the many generals, his voice was relatively weak and was far from the level of a marshal. Zhang Xiong did not understand why Wan Lanxin had so much confidence in Yang Wu, but it seemed that only Yang Wu could solve this problem. All right, don't think about this kind of small matter. Warden Zhang, you can be a warden with peace of mind. Yang Wu said decisively. With his current influence, he believed that Fun Tianxiong would not have any objections if he wanted to take the position of warden, nor would he dare to have any objections. The dishes were served and everyone happily gathered together to eat and drink. This was a rare time for leisure and relaxation. After 3 rounds of drinking, Wan Lanxin and Zhang Xiong went alone to catch up. Yang Wu, on the other hand, carried a jug of good wine and led Skinny Monkey and Lu Ji to the second district. This trip was not only to deal with Wei Dian, but more importantly, to find Sun Rue. My lord, are you sure that teacher is really in this prison? Lu Ji looked at the numb prison slaves around him and asked. Yes, do you think I'm lying to you? Yang Wu replied. Lu Ji shook his head and sighed. That's not it. It's mainly because of teacher's body. How can he endure in this place? That's not to say. Elder Sun's body is very strong. No way, he's already so old. How can he be strong in this place? You underestimate your teacher too much. The actions of an expert cannot be guessed. As they talked, their group had already arrived at the second area. None of the prison slaves here were in the mood to dig for the red steel ores. They were all slacking off. The prison guards who were guarding here were also listless. They couldn't muster up any energy at all. All of them had a lazy appearance. Some of the prison guards didn't dare to stop Yang Wu when they saw him. They could tell from his clothes that he was probably a general from somewhere else. They couldn't afford to offend him, so they let him walk around as he pleased. Yang Wu and the others walked towards the stone house that they had stayed in before. It was on a hillside, and that was where they had met Elder Sun. When they reached the top of the hill, more than 10 prison slaves surrounded Yang Wu and the others. They were all holding crowbars in their hands. It seemed that if Yang Wu and the others took another step forward, their crowbars would be thrown at Yang Wu and the others. Scram! Skinny Monkey shouted at the prison slaves. You guys are the ones who should scram. This is our boss's territory. Outsiders are not allowed to come here, one of the prison slaves shouted. The strength of this prison slave was not low. He had already reached the advanced warrior level. No wonder he had the courage to stop Yang Wu and the others. When my big brother was the boss here, you guys were still hiding somewhere. All of you scram! Skinny Monkey shouted and attacked without holding back. Skinny Monkey's fist strength was astonishing. How could these prison slaves withstand it? In just a few rounds, they were all sent flying by Skinny Monkey. Skinny Monkey was already at the peak of the general realm. He was no longer the little prison slave of the 68th district. Cough cough, they are already very pitiful. How can you be so cruel? Lu Ji said with a compassionate expression. Sickly beauty, most of them are people who kill people like flies. Are they worthy of your pity? Skinny Monkey replied. Back then, the Lord was not like you. He came out of the mountain prison. Are you guys not good people? Lu Ji asked. Yang Wu and Skinny Monkey replied at the same time, No. Who wants to be a good person? These days, good people don't live long. Only scourges live for 1,000 years. That's great. I like it, Lu Ji said with a flirtatious look. Yang Wu and Skinny Monkey instantly had the urge to vomit. If Lu Ji was a real woman, they would definitely be mesmerized. Unfortunately, this guy was a real man. In this cruel world, there are only two kinds of people. One is the strong, and the other is the weak. There is no such thing as good or bad. The strong can make all the rules. If they say good, then good. If they say bad, then bad. The weak can only resign themselves to fate, Yang Wu said to the sky. Then, he quickly walked towards the stone house at the top of the mountain. The three of them quickly arrived in front of the stone house. There was a bare-chested man practicing a battle skill. This man waved a crowbar. Every strike of the crowbar was quite powerful. There were even wisps of mysterious light floating around it, indicating that he was a top-level warrior. Yang Wu didn't take this man seriously at all. He sensed the situation around him and didn't sense Sun Rui's aura. He also didn't see Su Jianyang. He couldn't help but wonder, where did they go? Suddenly, the cultivating man waved a crowbar at Yang Wu. A 1.5 meter long streak of mysterious qi rushed towards Yang Wu. Brother, don't be impulsive. My lord's realm is too high. He's not someone you can deal with, Lu Ji advised. Unfortunately, his reminder seemed to be a bit too late. The man had already flown out. Bang! The man fell heavily in a corner, unconscious. Yang Wu didn't seem to have moved at all. Lu Ji covered his face and said, I already said that my lord's strength is strong. You just had to court death. You really don't deserve to die. Skinny Monkey rolled his eyes at Lu Ji and said, Speaking in hindsight. Who's speaking in hindsight? I already told him, Lu Ji replied. You should have said it before he attacked. I also wanted to, but I was afraid that he wouldn't believe me. This time, he should believe me. That seems to be the case, as expected of the sickly beauty's advisor. Yang Wu ignored the two of them and walked towards the prison slave who had been sent flying. The prison slave also got up. His eyes were filled with panic as he retreated step by step. This prison slave was the boss of the 2nd district. His strength was ranked in the top 3 among all the prison slaves. He was a little arrogant, but this little bit of pride was useless in front of Yang Wu. Where's Elder Sun and Su Jianyang? Yang Wu asked the prison slave. I don't know who you're talking about. The prison slave trembled as he replied. So it's an old man and a woman who live here, Yang Wu replied. When he left the mountain prison in a hurry, he had already arranged for Su Jianyang and Fatty Dong to take care of Sun Rui. He didn't expect that half a year later, things had already changed. I haven't seen any old man or woman. If there was a woman, she would have been taken away by the prison guards and offered to the prison warden. The prison slave answered honestly. Then where's Fatty Dong? Yang Wu asked again. I know that. He used to live here, but... The prison slave revealed a troubled expression and couldn't finish his sentence. But what? Hurry up and say it. Yang Wu's eyes turned cold as he reprimanded. I injured him. He didn't make it through this winter and died. The prison slave said in one breath. He died. Yang Wu sighed heavily. I'm just asking for a way to live. The prison slave gave up on escaping and answered honestly. Yang Wu didn't make things difficult for him. He knew the cruelty of the mountain prison better than anyone else. It was a very normal phenomenon. He didn't have a deep relationship with Fatty Dong. He just lamented that life was fleeting. Yang Wu ignored the prison slave and walked away with Shou Ho and Lu Ji. The prison slave watched Yang Wu and the others walk away before he heaved a sigh of relief. He patted his chest and said in relief, "That scared me to death. Who was that young man? He must be at least a young champion." If he knew that the one who ambushed him was a young king and not a young champion, who knew how he would feel? Yang Wu returned to the group of prison slaves and shouted, "Are there any more people from the Marquis gang?" The Marquis gang was the gang that Yang Wu and Shou Ho had established in the mountain prison. They had wanted to unify the mountain prison, but after he had defeated all the prison slave bosses, he had left in a hurry. Even so, there were still legends of them in the mountain prison. Yang Wu had no choice but to call out the original gang's name to see if there were any old prison slaves alive. Sure enough, after he finished speaking, a few prison slaves walked over from a corner, cowering in fear. "We are from the Marquis gang. Are you young Master Yang?" one of the prison slaves asked. "That's right, it's me. What's your name?" Yang Wu turned around and asked the prison slave. "It really is young Master Yang. I didn't expect you to come back here. I used to be a member of the Black Gorilla Gang. After you came and killed us all, even the Black Gorilla Gang, we became your subordinate," the prison slave said excitedly. Yes, it was young Master Yang who broke my arm." Another prison slave pointed at his deformed arm and said excitedly. Thinking back to Yang Wu's peerless demeanor, it really opened my eyes. I thought my divine leg art was very powerful, but in the end, my leg was broken by Yang Wu in one move. Thinking back, it really makes me sigh. Another prison slave said. The other prison slaves also began to talk about the past, and their faces lit up with excitement. Lu Ji looked at them and couldn't wrap his head around it. These prison slaves were all beaten up by Yang Wu, so why didn't they feel any pain when they talked about it? Instead, they felt like they were showing off. He exclaimed in his heart, "This world is a mess. Big Brother really is Big Brother. His charisma is not something anyone can compare to." Skinny Monkey said sincerely. He and Yang Wu had both fought their way out of the mountain prison, and had experienced the hardships of the prison. It was easy to make the prison slaves submit, but it was difficult to make them worship you. Yang Wu was a young prison slave who had fought his way from the lowest section to the first section. He was a small legend in the prison. Now that Yang Wu had returned, he was no longer a prison slave. Even the prison guards didn't dare to say anything about him, which meant that he had a great future. Perhaps he had already been promoted from a prison slave to a military officer. These prison slaves had witnessed Yang Wu's rise at some point, and they were proud of it. "Do any of you know the whereabouts of Su Jianyang?" Yang Wu interrupted the prison slave's narcissism and asked. "So young Master Yang is looking for her. She was taken away by the prison guards after you left," a prison slave replied. Chapter 251. After going around in circles, the final problem still came back to Wei Dian. Yang Wu was depressed. He had just released Wei Dian's female prison slaves, but he still didn't see Su Jianyang. Yang Wu couldn't find Su Jianyang, so he asked them if they had seen Sun Rui. He inquired around from the prison slaves, but they all said that they had never seen such a prison slave. Yang Wu had no choice but to return. "My lord, did teacher really stay here before?" From their tone, it seems like they haven't seen teacher before. On the way back, Lu Ji couldn't help but ask. "That's also what I find strange." Yang Wu pondered and replied. Then he said, "Don't worry, Elder Sun must have stayed here before. However, he might be an expert, so it's normal that the other prison slaves don't know of his existence. Maybe he has already left this place. You can only blame yourself for not having the fate of being his disciple." "My lord, you're right. I must be born wise. Even teacher has to avoid me when he sees me." Lu Ji said with a look of deep understanding. Yang Wu and Shou Ho couldn't help but vomit. Narcissist, Yang Wu said with disdain. Idiot, Shou Ho scolded. You're just jealous, Lu Ji said proudly. Soon, they passed by the original location of the 8th district. Yang Wu looked at the place where he rescued Wang Jiuchong. It had been dug into a deep pit, and there was a layer of soil around it. It was obvious that it had been dug up again. He didn't know if it was Wang Jiuchong or Wei Dian who did it. Let's go there and take a look, Yang Wu suggested. Shou Ho and Lu Ji didn't have any objections, so they followed Yang Wu. This is an important place in prison. You can't go near it, a prison guard said as he gathered his courage and blocked Yang Wu's way. This has nothing to do with you, go away. Skinny Monkey acted as Yang Wu's right-hand man and pushed the jailer away. After Skinny Monkey made his move, more than a dozen prison guards surrounded him. Skinny Monkey didn't have a good impression of the prison guards. In the past, he had been tortured by them. This time, he had to take the opportunity to vent his anger. I'll help you loosen your bones. The Skinny Monkey was not polite to them at all. He beat and kicked these prison guards until they were all lying on the ground. Yang Wu didn't say anything to stop them. These prison guards didn't have good eyesight, so they couldn't blame Skinny Monkey. Besides, he also wanted Skinny Monkey to show off. Yang Wu and Lu Ji had already arrived at the deep pit. The ice layer here was melting, making it incomparably moist, and cold air was emitted from time to time. Cough, cough. Lu Ji's body was weak, and he couldn't stand the aura. He couldn't help but cough. This used to be a blood fiend pit. You should stay away, Yang Wu said to Lu Ji. My lord, do you think my body can be cured? Lu Ji asked. You still don't believe me? Yang Wu asked. It's not that I don't believe you, but I'm afraid. I don't even know when I'll die. The heavens must be jealous that I'm more handsome than him, so they want me to die early, Lu Ji said with a bleak smile. Yang Wu patted Lu Ji's shoulder and said, Don't worry, you'll definitely be cured within a year. Although Yang Wu's words were more or less comforting to Lu Ji, he believed that Little Hay definitely had the ability to do so. The premise was that Little Hay could wake up within a year. The Skinny Monkey left, holding a dozen belts in his hands. He proudly swung them around and said, Back then, these fellows forced me to drink piss. This time, I'll let them know how powerful this monkey is. Not far away, the jailers' lower bodies had been stripped bare. They were all covering their crotches, looking for a place to hide. What a naughty monkey, Yang Wu said unhappily. Heh, big brother, we're already being kind to them. In a bit, I still have to go back to the 68th district and have some fun with the other jailers. The Skinny Monkey laughed. He paused for a moment, then pointed at the deep pit and said, Big brother, what are you doing here? It's so eerie. Back then, I carried Wang Jiuchong out here. There's an earth spirit spring down here, so maybe there's something else here, Yang Wu replied. He didn't mention that his first type of mysterious essence chi came from here. Is that so? Then let's go down and take a look. This place has been turned upside down. Even if there's something good, it's probably already been taken away by someone. That's not necessarily true. There are some things that others can't see, but I can. Big brother, let's go down and take a look. After the Skinny Monkey finished speaking, he was the first to jump down into the deep pit. This kind of courage was not something an ordinary person could compare to. Yang Wu wryly smiled and could only follow. Lu Ji could only stand guard outside. I really want to be like them and have a strong physique, Lu Ji murmured with an envious expression. Inside the deep pit, this place had been dug more than 10 feet deep. After falling down, it was pitch black. This was not a problem for Yang Wu and the Skinny Monkey at all. Yang Wu didn't have the Skinny Monkey's innate strange pupils, but his meridians and meridians were all connected. He opened a spotless, immaculate physique, so his eyesight was not any weaker than those with the title of clairvoyance. This bit of darkness was nothing to him. Needless to say, the skinny monkey's fiery golden eyes were incomparably sharp. 2 golden flames pierced through all obstacles. Nothing could escape his eyes and ears. Big brother, this place is really strange. It's actually alternating between hot and cold. The skinny monkey said. Yang Wu lightly nodded and said, if this place didn't have anything strange, it wouldn't have been able to suppress Wang Jiuchong here. At that time, he had suffered a lot in the blood qi here. They kept going deeper and deeper, their eyes constantly sweeping, but they didn't find much. Even if there was an earth spirit spring here, who knew where it had flowed to? Wanting to find it again would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. When they reached the end, they found that these were all man-made places. There was nothing strange about them, so they prepared to turn and leave. At this time, the skinny monkey suddenly shouted, Big brother, don't be anxious. I seem to have found something. Immediately after, he took out his broken staff and smashed it against a rock wall. Pung pung. This incomparably hard rock wall was continuously smashed by his broken staff. Layer by layer, it fell off. After a while, a piece of red steel rock was revealed. Yang Wu couldn't help but tease, Skinny Monkey, you're doing your old job again. You're actually digging up red steel rock. Hey, Big Brother is right. The red steel rock here might be a little different. The Skinny Monkey smiled and continued to smash the red steel rock. He didn't have any intention of keeping it. This time, Yang Wu felt that it was a little interesting. He quietly looked at the Skinny Monkey, trying to figure out what he had found. Skinny Monkey continuously knocked out more than 100 kilograms of crimson steel rock. A pile of crimson steel rock splashed all over the ground. At this time, after he knocked out another layer of crimson steel rock, there was finally a strange change. The color of the new red steel rock was different. Originally it was only a dark red, but now it was a bright red. It was like a piece of rock that had been burned red. It was quite eye-catching. This rock is strange, Yang Wu said in surprise. This time, the Skinny Monkey didn't smash the rock. Instead, he used the broken staff to dig it out. The Skinny Monkey held the 50-kilogram red steel rock in his hand. He felt a wave of warmth pass from his palm to his body. His entire body felt very comfortable. He handed it to Yang Wu and said, "This might be an upgraded version of red steel rock. It still has heat. Big brother, feel it." Yang Wu touched the red steel rock and could feel the heat coming from the rock. At the same time, his blue demoness released a suction force that quickly absorbed the heat from the red steel rock. When the blue demoness absorbed the heat from the red steel rock became dim. "Big brother, you absorbed its energy?" The Skinny Monkey cried out in shock. Yang Wu revealed a look of disgust and said, "Sorry, I couldn't help myself. This is indeed an upgraded version of red steel rock. It should be called red essence rock. It is a king-grade material that can be used to refine king weapons. It is more than 10 times more valuable than red steel rock." "Really? Then we might be rich. This entire area is filled with this kind of red essence rock." The Skinny Monkey excitedly pointed at the cave wall and said, "There's a patch of red essence rock here?" Yang Wu's eyes lit up. "That's right. It seems like there are other things deeper in. I can't see clearly, but these rocks should be useful to us. We can't let them go." The Skinny Monkey excitedly said, "This is the property of the Imperial Court." Yang Wu sighed. "Big brother, if you don't say it and I don't say it, who else will know? Plus, the prison is still under our control. Do we have to give such a big discovery back to the court?" The Skinny Monkey rubbed his hands and said. There was a wave of energy in his body. He desperately wanted the energy inside. It was because of this that he wanted to take this place for himself. After a moment of silence, Yang Wu nodded and said, "Okay, this place belongs to us. All the land under the heavens belonged to the king. All the people on the shores of the land belonged to the king." For a long time, as the family of an important official of the court, they had been instilled with the belief of supporting the imperial family of the great Xia dynasty. Unfortunately, their young family's life and death had been decided by the other party. Everything they had served before was nothing more than a bubble. No one cared about their good. Also, the matter of him wanting to return to the capital was suppressed. It was enough to show the ruthlessness of the imperial family. Since that was the case, they couldn't blame him for being unjust. When the skinny monkey was about to dig again, Yang Wu stopped him and said, "Don't be anxious. Go out and borrow some tools. Then let our people take over here. Don't let anyone else come close. Listen to your big brother." The skinny monkey obeyed Yang Wu's words. Therefore, Yang Wu and the skinny monkey quickly rushed out from the bottom of the deep pit. The skinny monkey quickly called the people of the Death Corps over. Yang Wu asked Lu Ji to inform Zhang Xiong that the nearby territory would be taken over by the people of the Death Corps. No one else was allowed to come close. Anyone who came close would be killed without mercy. Lu Ji received the order and left. When the skinny monkey came over with the people of the Death Corps, they selected more than 10 trusted soldiers and went down to the deep pit to dig for the red essence stone. This time, they not only found the red essence stone, but also had an unexpected harvest. Chapter 252. The red essence stone was not a good material for refining weapons. In this mountain range, there were actually people who had dug out the red essence stone before, but that was only an occasional thing. It was rare to find a small vein of red essence stone like Shou Ho. Yang Wu and Shou Ho watched their subordinates digging in the deep pit. They were not afraid that their subordinates would be greedy for the red essence stone, but they wanted to know what other amazing things were inside. Shou Ho's fiery golden eyes were too heaven-defying. He had already seen that there were other things inside the red essence stone. As the soldiers kept digging, the heat from inside became more and more intense, making it difficult for them to bear. Shou Ho scratched his head and said impatiently, "Move aside, let me do it." These people felt as if they had been pardoned and hurriedly left to let Shou Ho do it himself. Shou Ho held the crowbar and crazily dug. He did not care about the red essence stone anymore. He cared more about the things inside. The blue demoness in Yang Wu's heart became more active, like a hungry child who wanted to eat. Yang Wu picked up the crowbar and dug together with Shou Ho. They dug out a pile of red essence stone and let the soldiers beside them pass it up. There were people from the Death Legion above, none of them were from the prison field. Even Zhang Xiong could not get close, so no one dared to touch the red essence stone that was dug out. As the red essence stone was dug out, the temperature inside was unbearably high. Even a person would not be able to bear it. It was as if their body was about to burn. It was incomparably hot and unbearable. Yang Wu and Shou Ho were not ordinary people. Yang Wu had the blue demoness and liked to devour this kind of heat. It was simply providing energy for Yang Wu's heart. Shou Ho majored in fire xianqi and liked this kind of heat the most. The more he dug, the more energetic he became. After an hour of rapid excavation by Yang Wu and the skinny monkey-like man, they finally found something. There was some scarlet liquid flowing in the red essence stone, and it was this scarlet liquid that was emitting abnormal heat. "What kind of liquid is this?" Yang Wu asked in surprise. At this moment, his heart was beating very fast. The blue demoness was about to break out of his body and devour this liquid. Shou Ho did not have time to answer Yang Wu's question. He directly stretched his head and opened his mouth to devour the fire liquid. The energy of this fire liquid was no small matter. After the skinny monkey swallowed a little of it, the pain caused him to suck in a breath of cold air. At the same time, his body rapidly mutated. His thin and small body quickly became as strong as an ape. Many fiery hairs quickly grew out, as if he was undergoing a demon transformation. After he became in this state, he was completely unafraid of the fire liquid. He swallowed it in big mouthfuls and even let out a refreshing sound. "Ah, this is so satisfying. Big brother, come and eat some. This is the scarlet fire spirit liquid. It is incomparably pure and contains a very dense fire profound qi." No wonder. Yang Wu revealed a look of realization as he said. The red fire spirit liquid was a kind of spirit liquid of heaven and earth. It was similar to the earth spirit spring, but its use was very different. It was pure fire spirit liquid, and it was formed through the accumulation of various types of fire energy over a long period of time. It was usually found in the belly of some old volcanoes, and it was unexpected to find it here. But thinking about the red steel stone, which was a fire attribute stone, it was reasonable for the red essence stone and the red fire spirit liquid to appear here. Yang Wu could no longer suppress the blue demoness in his heart. He saw that there was quite a lot of red fire spirit liquid, so he asked Shouho, "Is this enough for you?" Yang Wu also wanted to obtain this power, but he wanted to help Skinny Monkey even more. If Skinny Monkey could reach the King Realm by devouring this scarlet fire spirit liquid, or even advance to the King Realm, then Yang Wu would not snatch it away from him. He truly treated Skinny Monkey as a brother. "Come, big brother. There is plenty of power here. Try to absorb as much as you can." Shouho called out to Yang Wu. "Then I'm really coming?" Yang Wu asked again. "Come, let us brothers fly together." Shouho forgot himself. Yang Wu smiled and stopped suppressing the blue demoness. He let it out and devoured the red fire spirit liquid. Blue demoness was the same as the ice blade wings. It was a part of Yang Wu's body. It was his talent and could be controlled by him. After it came out, it turned into a blue fairy and devoured the red fire spirit liquid. Shouho's eyes widened. This was the first time he had seen Yang Wu use blue demoness like this. He exclaimed, "Big brother, your fire is too overpowered. It can devour power on its own. Hurry up and absorb it. It is very greedy. It will devour all of your red fire spirit liquid." Yang Wu reminded. "Io, this little thing is too scary." Shouho exclaimed when he saw blue demoness devour another ball of red fire spirit liquid. The skinny monkey-like figure could no longer hold back. His eyes glowed with golden flames as two beams of eye technique shot out, landing directly on the scarlet fire spirit liquid and absorbing it into his eyes. This time, it was Yang Wu's turn to be speechless. He said in shock, "You can do that?" There were thousands of ways to cultivate, and most of them were based on the way of absorbing qi. The qi was mainly carried out through the pores, mouth, nostrils, and other places where there was a gap in the body's meridians. The skinny monkey, who used his eyes to absorb energy, was absolutely unique. Anyone who saw it would find it hard to believe. This kind of talent was probably not something a human could have. Shouho definitely had the spirit demon clan's bloodline. Blue Demoness felt the threat from Shouho's eyes and increased its devouring power. Shouho did not want to show any weakness. The golden flames in his eyes shone brightly. Two rays of eye technique were like a bridge that transported strand after strand of red fire spirit liquid into his eyes. He then opened his mouth and devoured it. It was a two-pronged attack. Actually, Yang Wu could also increase Blue Demoness' devouring speed, but he deliberately suppressed it. He did not want to devour too much of the red fire spirit liquid. This kind of thing was more suitable for Shouho. He was already taking advantage of Shouho by getting a portion. The red fire spirit liquid in the red essence stone vein was quickly sucked dry and the heat was quickly decreasing. Yang Wu forcefully took Blue Demoness back. There was a thick wave of heat in his heart that flowed from his heart towards his dantian. Yang Wu wanted to stop it, but it was too late. He mainly cultivated water Xian Qi. He did not know if this fire Xian Qi would affect him. When this wave of energy landed on his peach core dantian, it quickly assimilated this energy and turned it into a pure and flawless energy. This was not water Xian Qi, nor fire Xian Qi. It was not as simple as frost spring Xian Qi. It was a power that surpassed all of these Xian Qi. It was this power that allowed Yang Wu to have the trait of being immortal. It could allow him to quickly recover from his injuries. Yang Wu looked inside his peach core dantian. The pure and flawless energy spewed out from the thousands of holes in his peach core dantian. It was like the clouds, ethereal and moving. It was also like the immortal chi in the immortal palace. It was incomparably holy. It is a type of immortal chi, Yang Wu said with certainty. He remembered that little He always called herself Immortal Emperor. The peach core he obtained was a type of immortal peach core. It gave birth to immortal chi in his body. It was because of this that he had an immortal body and was able to quickly recover from his injuries. However, this immortal chi was only active in his body and could not be used by him. In the past, what he extracted was still Xian Qi. The peach core dantian spewed out immortal qi. The Xian Qi in the dantian was the combination of Xian Qi of heaven and earth, Xian Qi essence Qi, and frost spring Xian Qi. One was external and one was internal. They were completely different. It was like a pool of water. The pool of water was water and the layer above the pool of water was mist. Right now, the earth sea in his dantian was water and the layer above the earth sea was mist. Perhaps only after Yang Wu completely completed the 9 types of Xian Qi essence Qi required for the Sovereign 9 Mysteries formula would he be able to combine the power in the peach core dantian into a unique immortal Qi. Then, he should be able to become an immortal or a high and mighty god. After Yang Wu obtained this additional power, the earth sea in Yang Wu's dantian underwent a slight change. In that ocean-like water surface, there seemed to be something like a fish condensing. This fish was still very faint and almost invisible. However, its appearance greatly increased Yang Wu's power. Originally, Yang Wu had already reached the initial stage of the Earth-Sea realm. His realm had already been stabilized. Now, with the addition of this power, he had reached the middle stage of the initial stage of the Earth-Sea realm. This little increase was equivalent to several years of hard work for others. The skinny monkey's harvest was even greater. His body seemed to be spitting fire as it turned red. The fiery hair on his body stood up. He was in an extremely excited state. Yang Wu could feel the energy of the skinny monkey bowing. This time, even if he did not directly enter the Earth-Sea realm, he would at least touch the edge of that step. Yang Wu did not stay to disturb the skinny monkey. He turned around and left. He even chased out all the soldiers who did not come in. This time, the skinny monkey needed at least 2 or 3 days to completely digest the power. After Yang Wu came out, Wan Lanxin went forward and asked, "Marshal, have you finished digging up the red essence stones below?" "Not yet, but I won't dig for the time being." The skinny monkey obtained a little opportunity. "I will continue digging after he comes out." Yang Wu replied. "What do you plan to do with these red essence stones?" Wan Lanxin asked again. "There are only red steel ores in this mountain prison. Where did the red essence stones come from?" "Sister, don't you think so?" Yang Wu blinked his eyes and looked at Wan Lanxin seriously. Wan Lanxin was not stupid. She understood the meaning of Yang Wu's words. She revealed a complicated expression and finally said softly, "No matter what you do, I will always support you." Yang Wu grinned and said with an incomparably brilliant smile, "Sister, thank you." Chapter 253. While Skinny Monkey was digesting the scarlet fire spirit liquid in the pit, Yang Wu was guarding him outside. Although there wouldn't be any trouble in this area, it was better to be safe than sorry. After about 2 days, Skinny Monkey finally rushed out of the pit. He had already returned to his original appearance, but there was no way to suppress the oppressive fire aura on his body. "How do you feel?" Yang Wu asked Skinny Monkey. He could feel that Skinny Monkey's strength didn't seem to have broken through the Earth-Sea realm. He should only be at the peak of the general realm. Skinny Monkey smiled and said, "I feel great. It won't be long before I become a king. If I didn't absorb the scarlet fire spirit liquid, maybe you could have broken through," Yang Wu said guiltily. Skinny Monkey shook his head and said, "Big brother isn't like that. Don't think too much. There's still some scarlet fire spirit liquid left down there. It won't be too obvious for me to absorb anymore. I've already digested it. Is that so? Yang Wu asked again. Skinny Monkey nodded, expressing his affirmation. Okay, then we'll take the rest. I can use it to refine pills. Maybe the people around me can also use it in the future. Yang Wu said. He paused for a moment and said, Do you want me to refine an king pill for you to break through a step earlier? Skinny Monkey shook his head and said, No need. I think I can break through in a month at most. There's no need to waste that kind of top-grade pill. And it's best to break through on your own. Your foundation is also the most solid. However, I still plan to refine an Earth King pill in case of an emergency. Yang Wu said softly. Then, the two returned to the pit and collected the scarlet fire spirit liquid one by one. This kind of spirit liquid contained heat. Ordinary containers couldn't collect it. Only jade containers could. Yang Wu got a batch of these jade containers from the barracks. He was already a genuine king pill. If he didn't have some bottles to store pills and spirit liquid, it would be inappropriate. Yang Wu kept the scarlet fire spirit liquid one by one and gave some to the Skinny Monkey. He kept some for himself and said, Even if others can't absorb the scarlet fire spirit liquid, it can still be used to temper the body. We can't waste it. Big brother, you can take this. It's useless in my hands. Skinny Monkey said. Yang Wu shook his head and took out a heaven and earth bracelet. He handed it to the Skinny Monkey and said, This heaven and earth bracelet is for you. If you find anything good in the future, you can collect it. It's also convenient for you to carry things. This universe bracelet was something that Yang Wu had seized from Shi Shafeng. It was extremely precious, yet he was actually willing to give it to Shou Ho. This showed how much he valued Shou Ho. Skinny Monkey didn't refuse. He took it, his eyes glowing red as he said, Big brother, I won't refuse anything from you. In any case, I'll do whatever you tell me to do in the future. I, Skinny Monkey, won't refuse. Yang Wu patted Skinny Monkey's shoulder and said solemnly, We are brothers. The skinny monkey-like figure nodded firmly. He held the heaven and earth bracelet tightly in his hand, feeling incomparably warm. We are brothers. These 5 words became the belief that Skinny Monkey would firmly believe in for the rest of his life. Other than Yang Wu, no one dared to call themselves Big Brother in front of him. No one was worthy of being his brother. This was because he would be the stick demon Skinny Monkey, the one and only stick demon. After Yang Wu and Skinny Monkey put away the scarlet fire spirit liquid, the heat in the area decreased by a lot. Once again, they had the Death Legion dig out the scarlet essence stones. Yang Wu had already decided to take all the scarlet essence stones for himself. He wouldn't leave a single bit behind. He had already used the time when he was guarding Skinny Monkey to expand the heaven and earth space. After he reached the Earth-Sea realm, the heaven and earth space had a qualitative leap. It now had 15 cubic meters of storage space. This scarlet essence stone was less than 10 cubic meters. He could definitely store it all by himself. The value of this scarlet essence stone was even higher than 1,000,000 scarlet steel ores. However, it was a material for refining king weapons. It was considered a king-grade material. Yang Wu wasn't a weapon refiner, but he could use it to trade. It wouldn't be a problem for him to exchange it for more valuable items. After doing these things, Yang Wu asked Zhang Xiong to search the entire prison, but he couldn't find the whereabouts of Sun Rue and Su Jianyang. He felt that Sun Rue shouldn't be dead. As for Su Jianyang, he wasn't sure. Yang Wu didn't plan to return to the barracks yet. While there was still some time, he concocted some medicinal liquid for Wan Lanxin and Lu Ji to cleanse their physiques again. Wan Lanxin was already at the top of the general realm. It wasn't easy for her to break through to the Earth-Sea realm. She didn't have the powerful talent of Skinny Monkey. She was already very lucky to be able to reach this step so quickly. Yang Wu hoped to help her become a king before he returned to King City, so that she would have more ability to protect herself at the border. Now, he was a medicine refiner and had 3 types of spirit springs in his hand. This was enough for him to help Wan Lanxin advance further. In addition, Lu Ji's hidden danger wasn't something he could solve now. However, it was also good to improve his physique's resistance. After all, Yang Wu had already accepted Lu Ji as one of his own. This was a pedantic but witty guy with a good brain. Perhaps in the future, Lu Ji could become good friends with his younger brother. Yang Wu first found Wan Lanxin. She had returned to the small courtyard where she used to live. This was the place where she had lived for 3 years, and where she had experienced a beautiful memory that she would never forget. Yang Wu looked at Wan Lanxin, who was in a daze, and asked softly, "Sister, are you reluctant to part with me? Why don't you stay and not return to the army?" From the bottom of his heart, Yang Wu hoped that Wan Lanxin would stay in the mountain prison. The border was still too dangerous. Although the barbarians had retreated this time, it didn't mean that they wouldn't make a comeback. Wan Lanxin had been captured by the barbarians once and suffered great injuries. This was something Yang Wu didn't want to see again. Wan Lanxin shook her head and said firmly, "It's too easy here. It's not the life I want. I want to become stronger. I want to become a king like you." She wasn't a weak girl. Her cultivation talent wasn't inferior to ordinary geniuses. It was just that the environment determined everything. Fortunately, she had caught up because of her relationship with Yang Wu. However, Yang Wu had surpassed her and no longer needed her protection. Thus, what she needed to do now was to not pull away from him. Otherwise, the two of them would be further and further apart. "All right, then I'll help you break through to king as soon as possible. Let sister become the barbarian queen on the battlefield," Yang Wu said with incomparable seriousness. Wan Lanxin moved closer to Yang Wu and gently leaned her head on his shoulder. Yang Wu allowed her to lean on him. A faint scent assailed his nostrils. His heart was free of any distracting thoughts. His hand wrapped around her waist for no reason. The two of them were silent like this. It was as if time had completely stopped at this moment. In those years, she was already a young girl, and he was still a little brat. He had always chased after her, but when he tripped on a rock and fell to the ground, he would cry. When he saw her being teased by other youths, his thin and small body would block in front of her, acting as a little hero. In the end, he was beaten into a pig's head. When he saw that she was already able to gallop on a horse, he also wanted to learn from her. In the end, he fell off the horse countless times and broke several of his bones. She had already become a true woman, and he had also grown into a brave youth. That little brat who would always act as a little adult and block in front of her now had enough ability to shelter her from the wind and rain. She was proud of him, but also sad because he didn't belong to her. After a long time, she raised her head and looked at that resolute and handsome face. Her eyes became a bit blurred and her mouth moved closer. Suddenly, Yang Wu gently pushed Wan Lanxin away and exclaimed, "I almost forgot about the important matter. Big sister, here is some medicinal liquid that I made using the Scarlet Fire Spirit liquid and the highest quality Earth Spirit spring water. It can strengthen your physique." Wan Lanxin, who had already lost herself, was scared by Yang Wu's shout. She thought that something big had happened. She left Yang Wu's embrace and said with a face full of hidden bitterness, "Will it kill you to say this later?" Yang Wu scratched the back of his head and said with a dry laugh, "Didn't I just think of it?" Wan Lanxin saw Yang Wu's silly appearance and the anger in her heart disappeared, but the sense of loss became even stronger. Yang Wu couldn't feel Wan Lanxin's hidden bitterness, but at that time, his mind suddenly thought of the slug and his heart was filled with guilt. He had no choice but to find such a lousy excuse to push her away. In his heart, he had always treated Wan Lanxin as his sister. Of course, there were some other thoughts, but the one he really liked the most was that cute slug. He didn't know how she was doing right now. The 3-year agreement, it's almost been a year. Wait for me. Yang Wu's heart was filled with incomparable longing. Yang Wu gave the medicinal liquid to Wan Lanxin. It could be taken orally and applied externally. For internal use, it was made with the best quality Earth Spirit spring water and Frost Spring spiritual liquid. For external use, it was made with the Scarlet Fire spiritual liquid and the best quality Earth Spirit spring water. Both had herbs added to it so it would be more effective. After Yang Wu explained everything to Wan Lanxin, he went to find Lu Ji. Wan Lanxin watched him leave in a hurry and her beautiful eyes couldn't help but dim. She held the 2 bottles of medicinal liquid and firmly thought in her heart, I don't believe that I can't compare to a little girl. Yang Wu quickly found Lu Ji. He lived in a house not far away and was studying some ancient books in his hand. What are you looking at? Yang Wu asked after entering the door. I obtained an array formation scroll from Warden Zhang. It looked very interesting, so I brought it over to study. Lu Ji replied. Yang Wu walked over and looked at the array formation scroll in Lu Ji's hands. The densely drawn lines made him feel a little confused. He asked, You can also understand array formations? For someone as smart as me, I have a photographic memory. What else do I not understand? Lu Ji said very seriously. He really wasn't being narcissistic, but confident. If it was others, they would definitely think that this guy was bragging, but Yang Wu believed him. Chapter 254. Lu Ji had always been a serious person. He would never tell a lie, nor would he lie. He had always said that he was handsome, and he was indeed handsome. He said that it was because the county magistrate's concubine had asked him to watch her change her clothes, and this was not false. He said that he knew the heavens above and the earth below, and this was also not false. He had hundreds of books in his chest, and could easily distinguish between them. He said that he had a photographic memory, and this was also not false. Yang Wu took out a book and showed it to Lu Ji, and he really could completely recite it. This kind of ability was not something that just anyone could have. You and my little brother are both evildoers, Yang Wu said as he looked at Lu Ji. Your little brother? He also has a photographic memory? Lu Ji asked in astonishment. Yang Wu nodded his head, revealing a nostalgic expression as he said, That little brat, from the moment he was born, he was the darling of the heavens. When he was born, there was a strange phenomenon, as if a star had fallen into our house, and there were tens of thousands of books that moved without wind, and an inexplicable chanting sounded in our house. When he grew up, his brain was better than an adult's, his thoughts were strange, and he learned everything quickly. Even his luck was better than other people's. Once, when I was climbing a tree with him, both of us fell down at the same time. It hurt so much, but he actually had a spirit crane that flew over and caught him, safely putting him down. This was simply unreasonable. Before I went to prison, he was only 15 years old, a year and a half younger than me, and he was already the top scholar in the liberal arts exam with a perfect score, becoming famous in Imperial City. If it wasn't for me, he would have been in the imperial court by now, sigh. If it wasn't for me, then I wouldn't have been able to survive. Out of the entire family, he felt the most guilty towards this little brother of his. If it wasn't for his little brother sacrificing his own future, their entire family wouldn't have been able to survive. Moreover, he was sent to prison because he was framed by someone. The person who framed him not only wanted his life, but also their entire family's lives. He had to get justice for this no matter what. Your brother is indeed a monster like you. Lu Ji agreed wholeheartedly. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about you first. Here are some medicinal liquids for you to soak in. It can improve your physique. There are 3 bottles here, and the amount in each bottle is different. Soak in the smallest amount first, and soak in it every half a month. Even if it can't cure your illness, it can at least make your body stronger than ordinary people. Yang Wu cut to the chase. The medicine he had concocted for Lu Ji was different. Lu Ji's body was unwell, so he could not casually consume the medicine. First, he would use the external medicine to strengthen his body. This method could at least extend his life by a few years. Lu Ji was quite moved and said, "My lord, what virtue and ability do I have to deserve such care from you? Don't say any more words of gratitude. Just work hard for me in the future," Yang Wu said. Lu Ji deeply bowed to Yang Wu and did not say anything else. Everything would depend on his performance in the future. Yang Wu asked again, "Have you ever thought of becoming an outstanding array master?" "I have some interest in arrays. I should have some talent, but I don't know if I can become an array master," Lu Ji replied. Lu Ji knew what an array master meant. Once he could lay down all kinds of arrays, he would have an identity that was not inferior to an alchemist. He would be respected by the world. Arrays could kill people, but they could also save people. His heart yearned for it. "That's enough. I can help you become an array master." "Really? Have I ever lied to you?" "Yes." "What did I lie to you about?" "You lied to me, saying that no one in the prison would be interested in me. In the end, whether it was the prison guards or the prison slaves, they all ran over to touch my chest and butt." Yang Wu left Lu Ji's room as if he was escaping. He could not hold back his laughter. When he first arrived at the prison, Yang Wu did say such words to Lu Ji. However, when Yang Wu and the skinny monkey entered the deep pit, and he went back to find Zhang Xiong alone, he did not know how many people he encountered along the way. He almost had his backyard destroyed. Until now, Lu Ji's heart was still full of resentment. Yang Wu had to arrange his personal guard, Zhou Yong, to be by Lu Ji's side to ensure Lu Ji's safety. After Yang Wu and Lu Ji separated, he went to find Zhang Xiong. "Greetings, General Yang." Zhang Xiong saw Yang Wu and bowed to greet him. He no longer dared to treat Yang Wu as the prison slave boy from half a year ago. He had to maintain a proper attitude. "Warden Zhang, you don't have to be so polite. I'm here to give you a gift." Yang Wu came straight to the point. "You can't do that." Zhang Xiong quickly waved his hand. What a joke. His rank was lower than Yang Wu's, and he had not officially taken the position of warden. It would be rude if he did not give Yang Wu a gift. How could he dare to accept Yang Wu's gift? "You really don't want it? This is a panacea that can help you break through to the top general realm." Yang Wu shook the acupoint breaking pill in his hand and said. Zhang Xiong's eyes widened. He suppressed his excitement and said, Are you really going to give it to me? As long as you dare to take it, it's yours." Yang Wu nodded. Zhang Xiong hesitated for a while, then knelt down in front of Yang Wu and said, "Zhang Xiong is willing to serve General Yang." Previously, when he and Wan Lanxin were catching up, Wan Lanxin had intentionally or unintentionally revealed Yang Wu's identity as the King of Medicine, which had already shocked him. Now that Yang Wu wanted to recruit him, how could he refuse? Yang Wu helped Zhang Xiong up and said, "Warden Zhang, you're very good. This pill is yours." Zhang Xiong was already a person of importance. Yang Wu wanted to bribe him. He did not have to do a lot of things, but he might be useful in the future. The acupoint breaking pill was precious to others, but it was nothing to him. Zhang Xiong happily took the acupoint breaking pill. With this pill, he could go one step further and sit firmly in the position of warden. "You don't have to worry about Warden Zhang. When I go back and ask the marshal for permission, there will be no problem," Yang Wu said again. "Thank you, General Yang." Zhang Xiong was completely relieved. Yang Wu did not stay for long. After chatting for a while, he left. Yang Wu flew to the top of a mountain and said softly, "Bingxue, come out." After he said that, a ghost-like figure quietly appeared in front of him. It was Meng Bingxue, who had been hiding in the dark to protect him. Meng Bingxue was still wearing her white clothes. Her hair was loose, covering her breathtakingly beautiful face. If people saw her like this at night, they would definitely think she was a ghost. Meng Bingxue had some changes compared to when she was in the small world. Her face was more red, and her body was not as cold as before. She was more like a normal human body. She could also hide her chi. Otherwise, with the power she released, even a king-level warrior would not be able to withstand it. Yang Wu gently pushed Meng Bingshue's hair aside and asked softly, "Is it hard to follow you?" Meng Bingxue slightly shook her head and simply said, "Not at all. With you here, I am very relieved. I just don't know if you will continue to protect me like this after your soul is fully recovered." Yang Wu sighed. During these days, Meng Bingxue had been protecting him day and night. Even when he was sleeping, he could still feel her existence. She was like his shadow everywhere. He was very touched. "Protect?" Meng Bingxue answered stiffly. "With your words, I'm relieved. Regardless of whether you'll really protect me after you recover, I'll do my best to heal your soul injury," Yang Wu said solemnly. She was a poor woman, and he was a lonely man. They both had one thing in common. They had homes they could not go back to, and families they could not see. They were in the same boat. Yang Wu reached out his hand and said to Meng Bingxue, "Let's practice." Meng Bingxue did not say anything. She waved her sleeve at Yang Wu first. She didn't use any xianqi, but it was still very sharp. Yang Wu got into a simple stance like a horse stance and casually threw out a punch. That punch also didn't use any xianqi, and it was not fast. In other people's eyes, it was just a normal punch. However, in the eyes of powerful cultivators, they could feel something strange. That punch was fast, and it hit Meng Bingshue's sleeve. When the punch hit the sleeve, Yang Wu felt like he was hit by an electric shock. He kept stepping back. Yang Wu stepped forward again. His body was like a dragon turtle. He kept stepping forward, creating deep holes in the ground. Then he threw out another punch. Meng Bingxue attacked again. She was still waving her sleeve casually. Her sleeve was like her weapon. It drew a beautiful arc in the air and landed on Yang Wu's fist. Bang! Yang Wu was pushed back again. However, this time, he didn't fall back as far as before. He soon steadied himself. Again, Yang Wu shouted and threw out another punch. He had only used the power of his physical body, but the power of his fist was incomparably domineering. Even the wind was stirred up, and the sand and stones on the ground were swept up. One punch, two punches, three punches. One punch after another. He didn't stop. His punches were getting faster and faster. It was so fast that people couldn't even see them clearly. Each of Yang Wu's punches contained the intent of his fist. His fist was connected with his intent, and his intent was connected with his heart. Meng Bingxue was relying on her instinct to block all of Yang Wu's punches that contained the intent of his fist. She didn't let Yang Wu touch her sleeve at all. If it were other kings, they wouldn't be able to deal with Yang Wu's attacks so easily. At this moment, some scattered memory fragments inexplicably appeared in her mind. She was also exchanging pointers with another man. The two of them were very affectionate. While verifying their martial skills, they didn't forget to express their love for each other. They fought from the sky to the ground, and from the ground to the sky again. In the end, they even hugged each other and watched the sunset and the moon rise. It was extremely beautiful. Suddenly, the scene where she was ambushed by that man flashed through her mind. She cried out involuntarily, "Ah! Ming, why are you doing this?" "Bingxue, don't be afraid. I am not that Ming. I am Yang Wu." Chapter 255. Meng Bingxue was completely out of control. She held her head and screamed like a female ghost. Her screams were terrifying. Yang Wu and Meng Bingxue were connected, so he could feel her condition. He immediately went forward and held her in his arms to comfort her. This was a woman who had been hurt. He not only sympathized with her, but also felt a strong hostility toward the man who had hurt her. If he had the chance to meet that man in the future, he would definitely avenge Meng Bingxue. Meng Bingxue curled up in Yang Wu's arms, trembling. She was so helpless and pitiful. She did not have the demeanor of a super-strong sky fish warrior. Yang Wu hugged her tightly. Just like Meng Bingxue's memory appeared in his mind. She was practicing with a man named Ming. They were practicing a martial art called Sun Setting Moon Rising Art. It was an extremely powerful martial art. It was beyond the king-level martial art. It might be a sky martial art or even higher. The art of setting sun and rising moon was a dual cultivation sword skill. Only when a man and a woman had the same mind could they practice it. It was a sword skill that Meng Bingxue had obtained by chance. She had given it to him, hoping that the two of them could practice it successfully. With their fighting power, even if they met an enemy who was more powerful than them, they would be able to kill them easily. Meng Bingxue did not hold back or guard against that man. Unfortunately, that man was cruel and unscrupulous. He cheated Meng Bingxue of everything she had and wanted to kill her. She had to admit that the man was extremely cunning. Yang Wu's divine court Dao Flower General observed this joint exercise again and again, allowing him to gain some understanding. The man was the sun and the woman was the moon. The sun rose and the moon rose. The sun rose and the moon rose. Yin and yang alternated. The sun did not grow and the moon did not grow. The sun and the moon combined, and everything had a beginning. When they were practicing together, the inexplicable formula appeared in Yang Wu's mind. Ming, let's practice martial arts together. Meng Bingxue raised her eyes and looked at Yang Wu. Yang Wu thought of himself as Ming Zi. He nodded and took out two swords from the Qian Kuan space. He gave one to Meng Bingxue and the other to himself. The two of them started to practice according to the formula. Meng Bingxue was quite familiar with this sword skill. She had mastered it. As for Yang Wu, he had just started to learn it. Even his movements were a bit shaky. However, with Meng Bingxue's help, he was able to make some moves. You are the sun and I am the moon. You light up the day and I bloom in the night. Meng Bingxue suddenly started to sing a sad song. It was a song that matched the art of rising moon and setting Sunday. It was a song that she had made herself. The sword in Yang Wu's hand became more and more natural. His body was also alternating with Meng Bingxue's. His movements became lighter and lighter. Each of his sword movements carried a great righteous qi. It was like the sun was shining on the earth. Yang Wu's mood became brighter and brighter. It was a feeling that was stirred up by his sword movement. It was an indescribable feeling. Meng Bingxue was emitting a cool feeling. She was like the moon in the dark night, emitting a warm light. She was helping the sun to shine on the earth. Her yin qi had a sense of loneliness and desolation. She kept moving close to him. Her sword movements became stronger and stronger, bringing him up into the sky. They were like the sun and the moon in the sky. Their bodies kept alternating, and their sword movements kept crossing each other. The power of the sun and the moon shone on the mountain together. After an unknown amount of time, they finally retracted their swords and returned to the ground. At this moment, their bodies were tightly pressed against each other, and it was difficult for them to separate. The sun had set and the moon had risen. The next day, Yang Wu and the others were on their way back. They couldn't leave the Legion for too long. That was the deadline that Fun Tianxiong had given to Yang Wu. Yang Wu didn't want to make things difficult for Fun Tianxiong, so he went back as soon as he was done. After the fusion with Meng Bingxue last night, his spiritual power had increased by one level. It was like he had been affected by the memory or the art of setting sun and rising moon. All in all, his temperament had changed. It was like he had turned from a teenager into a mature young man overnight. His eyes became deep and distant. Meng Bingxue appeared next to him. She was no longer invisible. Yang Wu had done it on purpose. He had to let her return to the world. He had to let her recover her memory and restore her soul. Although it was a bit stupid, he thought it was better than her hiding in the dark. Wan Lanxin had a strong hostility towards this cold woman who had suddenly appeared. She approached Yang Wu, stretched her delicate hand to Yang Wu's waist, and fiercely twisted and asked, "Who is she?" "Sister, don't be like this. Her name is Meng Bingxue." She is a poor woman, but she is also a super powerful woman. Don't mess with her. I will explain everything to you. Yang Wu explained to Wan Lanxin in a low voice. Before Wan Lanxin could answer, Meng Bingxue had already said to Wan Lanxin coldly, "Let go." Meng Bingxue released the cold qi uncontrollably. Wan Lanxin couldn't take it anymore. She let go of Yang Wu and stepped back a few steps. She almost fell to the ground. Luckily, Yang Wu reacted quickly. He grabbed her and saved her from falling. Yang Wu immediately explained to Meng Bingxue, "Bingxue, don't be impulsive. She is my sister." "I'm sorry," Meng Bingxue said coldly. Her tone sounded like she was apologizing. However, Yang Wu knew she was apologizing sincerely. Her soul was damaged, so she couldn't express her feelings. "Humph. You are so nice." Wan Lanxin humphed unhappily. She jumped back on the horse and left quickly. "I don't know how to explain this." Yang Wu bitterly smiled. He summoned the silver-patterned turtle and sat on its back. He let Meng Bingxue sit behind him. Meng Bingxue naturally leaned on Yang Wu's back. Many soldiers of the Death Legion saw this and wanted to prostrate themselves on the ground. He is indeed the commander. So many women are fighting for his favor. If only I was half as good as him. Don't even think about it. Commander's legend is not something we can understand. Following this kind of commander, we are convinced. That's right. Commander has already said that when we return, he will get us a batch of good weapons and armor. He will also give us pills to double our strength. No matter what happens in the future, I will follow Commander's footsteps. Only then will I have meat to eat. As Yang Wu's prestige increased, the soldiers of the Death Legion began to submit to him. They were not like the Rose of Death, who used strength to suppress them. Yang Wu not only had the Rose of Death's absolute strength, but he was also a medicine king. His future was limitless. The soldiers of the Death Legion naturally knew what to do. They all made up their minds to follow Yang Wu all the way to the dark. Since they were already abandoned men of sacrifice, perhaps there was still a glimmer of light following Yang Wu. Strange, that woman didn't even look at me. Lu Ji, who was sitting on the horse, glanced at Meng Bingxue and muttered to himself. "Who do you think you are? Everyone wants to look at you. You look like a woman. You are far from Big Brother." Skinny Monkey-like looked at Lu Ji with disdain. "I am indeed not as good as Lord, but I have always been confident in my appearance. I can kill both men and women. That woman is a bit cold," Lu Ji said truthfully. "At least you know your place. Let's hurry on our way. Big Brother's realm is not something we can guess," Skinny Monkey-like replied. Along the way, they hurried and returned to the army in 2 days. Yang Wu immediately rushed to see Fen Tianxiong. Because the war had just ended, Fen Tianxiong did not dare to leave the army camp at this time. Even if it was the imperial court's reward, he could only wait for half a year before going back to receive it. He was afraid that the barbarian army would attack again. Because of this, Yang Wu was able to meet Fen Tianxiong very smoothly. "Yang Wu is back." After Fen Tianxiong saw Yang Wu, he enthusiastically greeted him. "Greetings, Marshal. I have brought back all the members of the Death Legion." Yang Wu cupped his hands and said to Fen Tianxiong, "Haha, the members of the Death Legion are all your soldiers. You can lead them however you want. This marshal has no objections." Fen Tianxiong laughed. He paused for a moment and then asked, "Yang Wu, this marshal has indeed done his best. Don't take it to heart. When I return to the capital, I will personally talk to His Majesty about your matter. Perhaps there will be a turn for the better." When Fen Tianxiong, the marshal, said this, the goodwill he was showing was very obvious. Yang Wu thanked him and said, "Thank you, Marshal. Let's forget about my matter. I don't want to make things difficult for Marshal. I do have a small matter to discuss with Marshal." "What is it?" "When I returned to the prison this time, there was a prison slave rebellion. Quite a number of prison slaves escaped. Warden Wei Dian made the mountain prison black, and when the prison slaves escaped, he was still in a drunken stupor. He was even assassinated by the prison guards beside him. When I arrived, there was already no way to save him. Under my repeated interrogation, I found out that Wei Dian's temperament was very explosive. He often hit the prison guards for no reason, and even took all the female slaves as his undergarments. He casually killed the prison slaves, which caused this series of changes. Fortunately, Vice Warden Zhang Xiong brought people to bring the prison slaves back in time, and even controlled the prison guards to mutiny. Now that Wei Dian is dead, the mountain prison can't be without a leader. I will temporarily appoint Zhang Xiong as the warden. This person was once the warden's right-hand man, and has been in the mountain prison for many years. He is qualified to take on the position of warden. Does Marshal agree? Yang Wu looked at Fen Tianxiong and said calmly. Haha, Yang Wu, why do you have to tell me in such detail about such a small matter? Just let Zhang Xiong be the warden. I will have the imperial court make an official document later. Fen Tianxiong said heroically. He then coughed and said, Yang Wu, this marshal has something to ask of you. You must agree. Chapter 256. Fen Tianxiong was a dignified grand marshal, yet he was speaking so politely to a subordinate, and even used a begging tone. If others were to hear this, they would have no choice but to admire Yang Wu. Marshal, please speak your mind, I will definitely help you without any hesitation. Yang Wu readily replied. Just a moment ago, Fen Tianxiong had readily agreed to his small request, so he naturally had to give it to him. I would like to ask you to help me refine a pill. Fen Tianxiong said. Oh, I don't know what kind of pill the marshal needs, but if it is something like the Earth King pill, then it would be a bit difficult. The materials are not easy to find, and I also consume a lot of energy to refine pills, so the success rate is not high. Yang Wu stated in advance. The Earth King pill in the mortal world was already one of the top pills. He would not easily refine it for others, unless there was a sufficient price. This was the pride and nobility of an alchemist. If he casually refined pills for others, then he would have no status at all. Rest assured, I don't want to refine the Earth King pill, it is just an ordinary king pill, such as the kind that can allow a person to break through from the general realm to the Earth-Sea realm. Fen Tianxiong said implicitly, and then he added, I have already prepared the materials for you, you can rest assured, and I will also give you some extra compensation, it depends on what you need. A king pill that can allow a general realm cultivator to break through to the Earth-Sea realm, that is the profound congealing king pill. This is a high-quality pill among the king pills. Yang Wu said with a trace of embarrassment. I know that this pill is not easy to refine, so I have already prepared some king arts or king techniques. As long as you take a fancy to it, you can take it. Fen Tianxiong quickly took out 5 ancient scrolls and said. These ancient scrolls were genuine king arts or king techniques, and were not like the incomplete king techniques that Chao Jianda had given to Yang Wu. However, these king arts and king techniques were mostly low-level, and were comparable in value to the profound congealing pill. What an old fox! Yang Wu said in his heart after glancing at him. Afterwards, he took out a king's secret technique and did not take any other king's technique. He said, since the marshal is so straightforward, then I will accept. I will make a list. When you have gathered 5 sets of ingredients, then come find me. You also know that it is difficult to avoid mistakes in alchemy. This request is not too much, right? Not at all, not at all. Then I'll thank you in advance. Fen Tianxiong said with satisfaction. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. Yang Wu said. Fen Tianxiong did not force Yang Wu to stay and allowed him to leave. Yang Wu took the king's secret art and immediately gave it to Wan Lanxin. He couldn't use this king's secret art, but it was exactly what Wan Lanxin lacked. With this king's secret art, it would be much easier for her to break through to the Earth-Sea realm. Wan Lanxin was still angry with Yang Wu, but after seeing Yang Wu give her the king's secret art, all her anger disappeared. "Where did you get this king's secret art?" Wan Lanxin asked in surprise. "I got it from the marshal. It's just right for you now. Later on, I will give you a higher level profound art." Yang Wu replied. "You want to refine a king's pill for him, right?" Wan Lanxin was smart and immediately thought of this point. "It's not that I want to refine it for him, but he begged me to refine it for him. It just so happens that you can use this pill. It's called the Profound Congealing Pill. It is a king's pill for breaking through to the Earth-Sea realm, so you should cultivate this king's secret art as soon as possible, and be prepared to break through as soon as possible." Yang Wu said, and then he took out an universe ring and directly stuffed it into Wan Lanxin's hands. "This universe ring is also for you. It also contains some healing pills, as well as a top-quality king's technique. You can just wait to become a female general." Wan Lanxin was so moved that her tears flowed down like crazy, as she sobbed and said, "Why are you so good to me?" King's technique, king's pill, as well as the universe ring, which one of them was not an astonishing thing. Any king would want to fight for it, but Yang Wu just casually gave it all to her. Who else could be as good to her as he was? Even her father might not be so good to her. Yang Wu wiped Wan Lanxin's tears and said, "You are my elder sister. If I don't treat you well, then who would I treat well? I don't want to see you being caught by others again. If that happened, I would really go crazy." "Don't worry, there won't be a second time," Wan Lanxin replied seriously. Then make good use of your time to cultivate. I'll go back first." Yang Wu replied with satisfaction, then turned to leave. He had just taken a few steps when he felt a strong wind behind him. She hugged him tightly and said, "When we were young, you said that you would protect me for a lifetime when we grew up. Does that still count?" Yang Wu held Wan Lanxin's delicate arm and said with incomparable certainty, "Of course, the one who doesn't keep his word is a dog." Great Xia Dynasty's Imperial City. This place was far away from the battle, and people came and went, as well as an endless stream of carriages. It was incomparably bustling and lively. In the Imperial Palace, a stalwart man wearing a purple-gold dragon robe was sitting in the Golden Dragon Hall, reading through memorials. He was the current Emperor of Great Xia. Suddenly, an old eunuch quickly walked over to the Emperor of Great Xia and whispered a few words into his ear. The Emperor of Great Xia's expression changed slightly and he said, "Is this true? Commander Meng is just outside. Your Majesty can ask him personally." The old eunuch said, Summon him into the hall." The Emperor of Great Xia nodded. The old eunuch shouted at the top of his voice, "Summon Commander Meng into the hall." As the voice fell, a man in his prime hurriedly walked in with steady steps. This man in his prime was wearing armor, and he was full of vigor and vigor. He was like an eagle, very vigorous and powerful. He was the third commander of the Eagle Cavalry, Meng Helong. "This subject, Meng Helong, greets your Majesty." Meng Helong knelt on one knee and shouted, "My beloved subject, you may rise." The Emperor of Great Xia said. After Meng Helong stood up, he asked, "Is the news you brought true?" "This is an urgent report from the border, it cannot be fake. I believe that General Luo will report this to your Majesty at the morning court tomorrow," Meng Helong said. The Emperor of Great Xia stood up and paced back and forth, a trace of worry appearing on his face. The news brought by Meng Helong had brought him a lot of pressure. "My beloved subject, how do you think we should deal with this matter?" the Emperor of Great Xia asked Meng Helong. Meng Helong said in a panic, "Your Majesty, this matter is very important. This subject dare not speak nonsense." "Zhen forgives you, just say it." The Emperor of Great Xia waved his hand and said. Meng Helong pondered for a moment and said, "This subject thinks that we should immediately summon him back to Imperial City and give him the title of Marquis, or kill him without mercy. Is there no compromise? This subject thinks it's very difficult. Then, which one do you think is better? For the stability of Imperial City, this subject will choose the second option. In another place, Fu an Imperial Mansion. The environment here was a grade worse than the Imperial Palace, but everything inside was not worse than the Imperial Palace. Beautiful rockery and flowing water, quiet and elegant pavilions and terraces, golden carps swimming in the water, jade beads and blue stones were all gathered in this imperial mansion. At this moment, in the pavilion in the courtyard, two people were playing chess. One of them was wearing a four-clawed yellow dragon robe, with a yellow belt around his waist and black boots on his feet. He looked like a middle-aged man. His eyes were shining as he stared intently at the chessboard. The other person was wearing a plain dress. He was over 50 years old. His hair and beard were white. He had a square face, big thick eyebrows, a high nose and a dignified appearance. One could vaguely see the style of his youth. The two people seemed to be playing chess, but there was a fierce scene in the chess game. In the end, the middle-aged man gave up and said, "Prime Minister, this chess game is really interlocking. It's impeccable. Haha, Wang Ye is also not bad. You are the landlord, so let me make a move," the middle-aged man said. These two people were Prince Fuwen and the Prime Minister Song Lirue. Both of them had the power to make great Xia dynasty move. Prince Fuwen waved his hand and said, "Prime Minister Song is too modest. Your title as the number one chess player is not undeserved. I don't dare to be number one, but if I am number two, no one will dare to be number one," Song Lirue said confidently. "That's true," Prince Fuwen said. He paused for a moment and then said, "Prime Minister Song suddenly came, is it because of the incident that happened in the border army? To be exact, it's because of that person," Song Lirue said with a trace of worry. "A centipede? I really didn't expect that a moment of kindness will lead to endless troubles." Prince Fuwen sighed. "Yes, it was originally a child's matter, but we adults can't just let them be humiliated. We have to help them vent their anger. Now they should know that they were too impulsive. Since there is no way to recover, we can only cut the weeds and eliminate the root," Song Lirue said with a trace of killing intent. "That person has already become the climate, and he was suppressed in the border army. Will he still dare to rebel? If he is just an ordinary king, then it will be fine. But now that he has another troublesome identity, he will definitely come back for revenge. Moreover, there seems to be a mysterious strong person behind him. Once he grows up, it will be terrible." Both of them fell into silence, quietly looking at the golden carps jumping in the lake from time to time. The willows swayed with the wind, raising a circle of blue waves. Such a beautiful scenery, but there was no way for them to enjoy it. After a long time, Prince Fuwen said, "If that's the case, then let's cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. We don't have to do it ourselves. We can hire the top 10 people in the Black Hand list to deal with him. It should be enough. If those people in the Black Hand list cannot deal with him, then no one can stop him," Song Lirue suggested. "Those people in the Black Hand list are vampires. Prime Minister, do you have a way to deal with them? Those people only look at the benefit. They dare to take any job. I have a person who has contact with them. He should be able to contact them." "Well, invite the top 10 people in the Black Hand list. I don't believe that we can't kill that little bastard. As long as we get rid of him, we will kill everyone related to him. There will be no more trouble in the future," Prince Fuwen said with a thick killing intent. Wang Ye is wise. Chapter 257. The Rose of Death had disappeared. Yang Wu searched every corner of the army and even broke into her tent, but he still couldn't find her. Not only that, he even flew to the nearby mountains to search for her aura, but unfortunately, he still couldn't find her. Did she really leave? Yang Wu sighed in disappointment. He refined the Earth King Dan for the Rose of Death, hoping that she would become stronger and increase the combat strength of the Undead Legion. At the same time, he had a good impression of her in his heart. She was such an elegant and beautiful woman, and he had seen her entire body. That kind of charm was something that no one could resist. It was just that he didn't dare to make any promises to her. His heart could only hold a slug for now. Yang Wu returned to his tent and comforted himself by thinking that the rose of death might come back later. He threw all the unhappiness to the back of his mind and began to refine the medicinal liquid. The medicinal liquid he refined this time was different from the previous ones. It was refined for the silver-patterned tortoise and his body. In addition to spirit liquid, spirit herbs, and king herbs, there was also the ice flood dragon's flesh and blood essence. It could be considered a type of medicinal soup. This kind of medicinal soup could further strengthen his body and increase his strength, helping him absorb the ice flood dragon's blood essence. Previously, Yang Wu refined the Earth King pill and attracted the pill tribulation. It almost killed him, so he felt that his body still needed to be improved. Although he had a pure and spotless body, his realm was limited and he couldn't contend against any kind of power. He could only strengthen his blood essence and try his best to increase the strength of his body. Only then would he be able to easily deal with the pill tribulation when he faced it again. He didn't want to be in such a sorry state again. Last time, he brewed the ice flood dragon's medicinal soup, but it definitely wasn't as full as this time. He had added 2 king herbs and the medicinal effects were overbearing. Even if a general realm cultivator consumed it, they would explode. Ordinary kings wouldn't be able to withstand it. This was the special Ice Flood Dragon's Great Tonic Soup. After Yang Wu quickly finished brewing the soup, he called the silver-patterned tortoise back. When the silver-patterned tortoise entered the tent, it immediately twitched its nose and revealed an excited expression. "Young master, this smell is really fragrant. It's the Ice Flood Dragon Tonic Soup I prepared for you," Yang Wu said seriously. The silver-patterned tortoise's body quickly swept towards the bronze cauldron and said with incomparable agitation, "Young master, is this really for me?" "Half and half." "Thank you, young master." 1 human and 1 demon began to share the medicinal soup in the cauldron. When the medicinal decoction entered his stomach, a powerful icy energy wreaked havoc in his body. At the same time, it was as if an ice dragon was rampaging through his body, as if it wanted to devour him. "You couldn't even do anything to me when I was alive, let alone now that I'm dead. Get lost." Yang Wu activated the power of his bloodline, and his boiling battle strength was generated, and forcibly shattered the ice dragon into pieces. As the ice flood dragon's shadow dissipated, the ice flood dragon's blood essence seeped into his blood vessels and began to strengthen his body. In addition to the blood essence, there was also the effect of the medicine king. Together, they strengthened every part of his body, causing his blood chi to be incomparably vigorous, and the cold chi to be even more intense. The silver-patterned tortoise at the side had an even more obvious benefit. After drinking half of the medicinal soup, some changes appeared on its tortoise head, and there seemed to be more dragon patterns faintly appearing. Even the tortoise shell was the same, appearing to be incomparably sturdy and awe-inspiring. Its changes wouldn't all be carried out at this moment. After it squeezed out all the power of the medicinal soup bit by bit, the effects would be even more obvious. After Yang Wu finished absorbing, he suppressed a lot of the remaining power in his body and waited for it to be slowly digested. He wasn't in a hurry to go into seclusion to refine all the medicinal power. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but this power indeed needed to be slowly digested to be able to seep into every corner of his body. It was best to have a big battle, which would be more helpful in absorbing it completely. Son of AB*TCH, let's go outside and train. Yang Wu's entire body was suffused with cold chi, but his body was filled with dense power, as if he would explode from the power if he didn't vent it out. "Yes, young master," the silver-patterned tortoise replied with a look of desire. Thus, they quickly rushed out of the tent together and swept towards the direction of the uninhabited mountain. As soon as Yang Wu and the silver-patterned tortoise landed, the silver-patterned tortoise unceremoniously launched a sneak attack on Yang Wu. The Overlord fist was aimed at Yang Wu's butt. How dare you launch a sneak attack on this young master? Yang Wu's reaction was incomparably fast, and his body slid to the side as he shouted. Immediately after, a human and a beast tore at each other. The silver-patterned tortoise didn't show any mercy just because Yang Wu was its master. It kept attacking wildly, and even used its innate talent without holding back. It knew that if it didn't use its full strength, it would definitely be tortured to death by its master. In addition, after it swallowed the ice dragon's blood essence, it also comprehended a flood dragon clan's remarkable ability. It wanted to test whether it could use it properly. Swallowing river and spitting ice. The silver-patterned tortoise opened its mouth, and a terrifying suction force was generated, as if it was going to swallow a river wave. In an instant, Yang Wu's body became unstable. Then, a surge of force was generated, and the cold qi turned into an ice rainbow that rushed towards Yang Wu. This was an innate talent that he had obtained from the ice dragon. Its power was quite domineering, and the flowers and trees nearby were frozen into ice. Yang Wu could feel the silver-patterned tortoise's power skyrocketing, but he didn't drink half a cauldron of soup for nothing. He gathered all his power on his fists and continuously punched out. The fist force was simple and violent, and the dense fist intent contained an icy qi. It was like a wild horse galloping wildly out of its reins. Boom! Boom! The ice layer that the silver-patterned tortoise breathed out was shattered by Yang Wu's fists, and many ice crystals kept flying. The fist force was still extremely fierce, and it was completely unstoppable. "I'm not afraid of you now." Facing the fist force that broke its ice layer, the silver-patterned tortoise didn't dodge. The tortoise shell on its body flashed with silver patterns, and a powerful defensive shield completely enveloped it, isolating it from Yang Wu's fist force. Yang Wu's remaining fist force was indeed unable to break the silver-patterned tortoise's defensive shield, because its defensive power had an additional trace of the flood dragon's might. It had already evolved into a flood dragon's physique, and its physique and defense were all improving. "You look so confident." Yang Wu smiled faintly, and the strength of his fists suddenly increased. The residual medicinal power that he had suppressed burst out, and the medicinal power permeated into every corner of his body, causing his physique and strength to improve further. The overbearing fist force broke the silver-patterned tortoise's defensive shield, and it was sent flying high into the air. "Young master, I surrender." The silver-patterned tortoise was afraid that Yang Wu would catch up and beat it up again. Before its body landed, it opened its mouth to surrender. However, how could Yang Wu let it do as it wished? His soldier fist continued to bombard the silver-patterned tortoise with one punch after another, and fist rays that were dozens of feet long constantly flashed, like a shocking rainbow. Roar! The tragic silver-patterned tortoise became the target of Yang Wu's tyrannical abuse, and it was truly miserable. After an unknown amount of time, Yang Wu finally finished venting, and the silver-patterned tortoise's defensive power was also withdrawn by Yang Wu. Cracks appeared on the tortoise shell once again, and demon blood seeped out. It was truly in a sorry state. "Young master, I'm your follower's mount. How could you be so ruthless?" The silver-patterned tortoise lay on the ground and said with a sad face. Yang Wu regulated his own strength and said indifferently, "If I wasn't ruthless, I was afraid that you would ride on my head and shit on me." Yang Wu did his best to nurture the silver-patterned tortoise, but the silver-patterned tortoise always wanted to prove its strength, so how could he let it do as it wished? He wanted the silver-patterned tortoise to be 100% loyal, and it could not be disloyal. "No, no, how could I dare?" The silver-patterned tortoise quickly replied. "That's for the best. I will turn you into a flood dragon turtle, or even a dragon turtle, as long as you follow this young master." Yang Wu said seriously. "Then many thanks, boss." The silver-patterned tortoise said gratefully. "And I plan to give the tortoise shell I got from you to Luji. Not only is he interested in formations, he is also interested in divination. Perhaps he will become a true charlatan. Young master, you can't do this, that is my family's ancestral item, just take pity on me and return it to me. This matter is non-negotiable, as long as you are absolutely loyal. I will use the Ice Flood Dragon's core demon to refine a heavenly Yao pill for you, and help you become a heavenly Yao. Of course grandson is absolutely loyal to young master, even if you want me to climb a mountain of swords or dive into a sea of fire, grandson will not even frown. As for the ancestral item, I will leave it to young master to deal with. I will listen to young master's orders. It had to be said that the silver-patterned tortoise's change in attitude was abnormally fast. Yang Wu did not continue to talk nonsense with the silver-patterned tortoise. He got up and returned to the barracks. It was time for him to upgrade the members of the Death Legion, and turn them all into the strongest Death Legion. After Yang Wu returned to the barracks, he had Lu Ji gather the troops. Lu Ji's prestige in the army had already been established. He only needed to say a word to Zhou Yong, and Zhou Yong would be able to immediately call people over. This time, Yang Wu only wanted to meet the remaining few commanders. They were Xue Ji, Du Guangfo, Li Dazue, Zhou Yong, and Jing Xiaohu. The other commanders had all died in the battle with the barbarian army, while Zheng Xiaohu had suddenly emerged in that battle, killing his way out, and was then discovered by Lu Ji and promoted to deputy commander. Xue Ji was still dressed in bright red clothes, her eyes were extremely charming, and she was playing with the same embroidery in her hands. Du Guangfo was a true evil monk. The killing intent on his body was extremely strong. Even if he had a solemn expression, there was no way to restrain it. Li Dazue had changed a lot, at least he no longer ate human flesh in front of others. At the same time, he was in charge of training the soldiers of the Death Legion. Zhou Yong was arranged by Yang Wu to protect Lu Ji at all times, so that Lu Ji would not be taken advantage of by others for no reason. Jing Xiaohu was very young. He looked like he was only 27 or 28 years old, but he already had the strength of a high-level barbarian general. His figure was very strong, and his eyes were suffused with a tiger's aura. Just this point alone was enough for him to be promoted to deputy commander. "Greetings, commander." The few people present willingly knelt on one knee and saluted Yang Wu. Yang Wu's legendary deeds had long been deeply ingrained in their hearts, far surpassing the Rose of Death's position in their hearts. "Get up, I called you here this time to give you some rewards," Yang Wu said indifferently. Chapter 258. This time, the barbarian army had defeated the barbarian army, and all three armies had received rewards. However, these rewards would not arrive so quickly. They still had to wait for the imperial court to complete the procedures before they would be sent to the border. No matter what the rewards were, the Death Legion's rewards would not be much. Even if Yang Wu had a high prestige in the army, he could only help them fight for a little bit of reward, merit points, and so on. These were not very significant to them. However, this time, Yang Wu had personally said that he would give them a reward. They were incomparably expectant. They all knew that Yang Wu had the identity of a medicine king. If he rewarded them with pills, they would be incomparably happy to accept. "Commander, what reward are you giving us?" Xue Ji was the great commander. She took the lead and asked everyone's thoughts. "Medicinal liquid to help you cleanse your body." Yang Wu took out several bottles of medicinal liquid and placed them in front of them. After everyone saw these medicinal liquids, their expressions could not help but become gloomy. They were looking forward to pills, not these medicinal liquids. "What's with your attitude? If you don't want these medicinal liquids, I'll take them." Lu Ji noticed that everyone's expressions were not right and could not help but speak up. "I want them." Li Dazue was the first to reach out for the medicinal liquid. "Me too." The second was Zhou Yong. The two of them were absolutely loyal to Yang Wu and trusted him. They did not dislike anything that Yang Wu gave them. The others hesitated for a moment, but still reached out to take the medicinal liquid. At this time, Yang Wu slowly said, This is a medicinal liquid made from earth spirit spring water and dozens of spirit medicines and herbs. It can heal many of the hidden injuries in your body and strengthen your physique. It can help you to break through to the king realm and strengthen your foundation. If any of you feel that this reward is not good enough, you can put it back. Commander, we know our mistake. Xueji, Du Guangfo, and Zheng Xiaohu happily admitted their mistake. Currently, they did not want to break through to the king realm because they did not have the ability to do so. Once they tried, there was an 80 to 90% chance that they would fail. However, with the medicinal liquid that Yang Wu gave them to heal their hidden injuries and strengthen their foundation, they might have a chance in the future. After all, they were no longer young and their bodies were no longer as strong as before. You know my identity. If you follow me in the future, I will not treat you unfairly. I, Yang Wu, still have this bit of integrity. Yang Wu declared. We are willing to follow the commander. Everyone present said in unison. At that time, I will give you the other medicinal liquids and liquids to strengthen your bodies. You will be responsible for supervising their daily training. B. Is. BB. B. All the people present showed a strange light. They were also imagining how terrible it would be if such a death legion really appeared. Yang Wu asked Lu Ji to take out a pile of qi-boosting pills and acupoint breaking pills for the commanders to see. He announced that as long as they were diligent in their cultivation, comprehended their combat skills, and improved their strength, they could come to Lu Ji to apply for these pills. As for the specific implementation, it was up to Lu Ji to explain to them. In short, he wanted to see an army with half of them reaching the general realm and the other half reaching the top warrior realm within 3 months. Those who did not meet this requirement would all be kicked out of the Death Legion. In addition, Yang Wu also said to the commanders that he would also prepare profound congealing pills for them. As long as they reached the peak of the general realm, he would personally distribute these pills to them and help them become kings. These words directly shocked the commanders present to the point that they almost fainted from happiness. We pledge our lives to follow the commander. This time, these commanders completely surrendered. They no longer had any resentment or dissatisfaction, nor did they dare to have any disloyalty. At this time, they felt that following such a commander was worth it. After Yang Wu said this, he took out some of the combat skills that he had extorted from the barbarian patriarch and distributed them to the commanders present, so that they could comprehend and impart them. These combat skills were plundered by the barbarians from the people of Great Xia. They disdained to cultivate them, so they returned to Yang Wu's hands. Yang Wu did not have much interest in these ordinary combat skills and general skills. His vision was now even higher. After Yang Wu won the hearts of the people, he let them go back and prepare to dig the pits. The commanders had tasted the sweetness of Yang Wu's orders, so they did not dare to violate them and immediately executed them. It was not difficult for the more than 1,500 soldiers of the Death Legion to dig a few big pits. In less than a day, 3 big pits appeared in the distance of the Legion. Such a big movement could not be hidden from the big shots in the army. However, they did not know what the Death Legion was doing, so it was not good for them to ask. Yang Wu used some of the medicinal herbs he had and began to concoct medicinal liquid. These medicinal liquids were not ordinary, but each bottle was enough for 100 people to absorb. This was also something that could not be helped. Yang Wu had limited resources, so he could not use all of them on them. It was also on this day that Chao Jianda suddenly came to visit. After Yang Wu welcomed Chao Jianda into the tent, he poured him a cup of tea and said, "General Chao, please have some tea." Yang Wu was only a deputy general, but with his identity as the Medicine King, he was already on equal footing with Chao Jianda. There was no need for him to deliberately bow to him. Chao Jianda smiled as he took the tea and drank a mouthful. "Yang Wu, your Death Legion has been making a lot of noise recently." "Why?" Did it affect the other barracks? If that's the case, I'll drive them all to the mountain range, Yang Wu replied. Chao Jianda waved his hand and said, It's nothing. I was just a little curious. What big move is Brother Yang preparing? Chao Jianda's address for Yang Wu had changed very quickly. He had already called him Brother Yang, as if the two had become friends despite the difference in age. What kind of move can there be? I'm just going to train them a little more so that the next time the barbarian army comes, fewer of them will die. Yang Wu smiled faintly. After a pause he asked, Is there something General Chao needs? Brother Yang, if you don't mind, you can call me Brother Chao or Old Chao. We don't know each other from fighting, so there's no need to be so formal. Chao Jianda did not respond, but warmly chatted with Yang Wu. Then I'll boldly call you Brother Chao. Yang Wu said reservedly. That's right, we were able to kill the enemy together at the border. Moreover, Brother Qin Gong's arm was fixed by you. This is a great fate. Well, Brother Chao hasn't said what you want from me. It's like this, I heard that the great general wants you to refine a profound congealing pill for him? There is such a thing. Then can you refine one for Brother Chao? Brother Chao would be very grateful. Refining a pill is a very laborious thing. If you are not careful, you will be struck by lightning. This is really a bit difficult. I know that Brother Chao is in a difficult position. If Brother Chao has any requests, then this Old Chao will definitely not refuse. How can I accept this? One big fox and one small fox had been talking, you advance and I retreat, their saliva constantly splashing. It was really no less than a big battle. In the end, Yang Wu still agreed to Chao Jianda's request. As for Chao Jianda, he naturally paid a satisfactory price. One of the price was to wait for Yang Wu to return to King City in the future. It was this price that made Yang Wu loosen his mouth. He did not want his identity to become cheap. After Chao Jianda left, Yang Wu did not have a moment of peace, when Nan Qi-Qin unexpectedly brought Nan Runan over to propose marriage. Not only did they come, even the men from the heavy armor camp were brought along. They really made it known to everyone in the army. Yang Wu's son-in-law, come out to greet your father-in-law. Nan Qi-Qin, this old guy, really had a thick skin. When he arrived outside Yang Wu's tent, he shouted. Beside him was a tall woman. This woman was none other than Nan Runan, who had taken off her woolen clothes. She was now dressed in light muslin silk, and had heavy makeup on her face. As she walked, she swayed from side to side, just like a young lady who had just gotten married. It was just that her makeup did not match her tall figure at all. Instead, she looked a little out of place and awkward. After Yang Wu heard the noise, he came out of the tent and was really shocked to see thousands of people surrounding him. In addition, he saw Nan Qi-Qin and Nan Runan. Especially after seeing Nan Runan, he was even more incredulous, his stomach churning. Old General Nan, what are you doing? Yang Wu suppressed the urge to vomit and asked. Lu Ji, who had already been alarmed, whispered beside him, We came to propose marriage. Yes, Yang Wu's son-in-law, I brought my daughter to you. She is wholeheartedly loyal to you. A grown girl can't be kept at home. You have to treat her well, otherwise the brothers of the heavy armor battalion behind her will not accept it. Nan Qi-Qin said straightforwardly. Yes, Commander Yang should marry our Major General. Only you are wise and powerful enough to deserve her. The people of the heavy armor battalion shouted in unison. Nan Runan secretly glanced at Yang Wu, casting coquettish glances at Yang Wu. Yang Wu couldn't help but vomit to the side. The lethality of this Nan Runan was really too great. Poor Lord. Lu Ji patted Yang Wu's back and silently mourned for him in his heart. Yang Wu, what's wrong with you? Are you not feeling well? Nan Runan strode over and asked. Don't come over. Yang Wu quickly stretched out his hand and reprimanded. Why? Nan Runan stopped and asked. No reason. You back off, quickly back off. No, you are not feeling well. I want to stay by your side and serve you. I am willing to be your loveliest, most beautiful wife. Don't be like this, I beg you to let me go. I am too ugly, too bad, not suitable for your husband. Really, you should find someone else. Women don't like bad men, not to mention you are so handsome, I love you to death. Nan Runan finished speaking and threw herself at Yang Wu. I told you to get lost.